the air last week against Miami of Ohio. And Jerry, his head coach, Greg Schiano, keeps talking about the fact that this man, who has now become a veteran in college football, continues to get better with each passing week.
Big-time veteran presence. He knows the offense. Remember, he was with Kirk Ciarrocca at Minnesota, so I mean, they've got like an anniversary coming up or something. They have a big party. But he is so important to the Rutgers offense, and he really makes it go. Short yardage, I think they're going to tweak some things, short yardage as from a year ago. He is on top of his game right now, Howard.
By the way, the Norfolk State head coach, in case you're not aware.
Just in case.
He could play some ball a little bit.
He probably could still play.
That is Mike Vick. For those who followed him, whether it was at Virginia Tech, during his time in the NFL with the Falcons. I mean, Howard, I remember covering the Carolina Panthers when I lived in North Carolina. And he would come in with the Falcons, and guys like really good defensive players like Mike Rucker and Brenson Buckner, those guys, they never even wanted to talk about Mike Vick.
Couldn't get anywhere near him.
No, he couldn't stop him. Now he coaches a team in Norfolk State that is a massive underdog against Rutgers. I'm wondering, for Greg Schiano, you head into this game, how good do you feel about your team as you get set to finish off conference play?
I think he'll know today, right? How do you respond? I think when you get in games like this, when you should go out and dominate, how do you play? Do you play a clean game? Do you do all your assignments correctly, executing those? Those are the types of things that he looks for. How are we winning in special teams? Is everyone running to the football? They're the little things that he looks for in games like this to make sure they're on the right page.
I think this is Greg Schiano's best roster, and I know it's his most difficult schedule.
You think it's the best roster that he's had since he came back?
Yes, absolutely. But it's the toughest schedule. There's less matchup opponents on this schedule than there has been the last 2 or 3 years.
I understand that, but you hope for Rutgers' side of things, he doesn't have to deal with the injuries that they dealt with last year. The fact that they were able to get to the postseason last year, dealing with what they dealt with from an injury perspective, was absolutely amazing.
Right.
I think the other interesting thing about this particular Rutgers team is that they've always been dominant on the defensive side, and the offense needed to really pick up their pace. Early in this season, really, the defense has really struggled a little bit to find their legs, and they're being led by their offense. So them getting better on the defensive side will be a big key for them, too.
Yeah, now Rob Smith's coordinating the defense now, so there's a change in the coordinator, so that might have something to do with it. But Greg's so tied into the defense that I can't imagine they've changed a lot.
And Rob and Greg have worked together previously before this year. There's a little bit of swapping sometimes with coordinators between Minnesota and Rutgers, and that connection
now and there.
PJ Fleck and Greg Schiano. That is a different conversation for a different time. We do have enough time, though, to conversate, if you will, about Michigan State. And you want to see a big jump, or at least an early jump in the legs from Michigan State, because I understand, as big as that win was last week against BC in double overtime, you can't start thinking that that's like your hallmark win of the season, because it's in the past now. Everything else is in front of you.
Right, but the difference is their leader has not changed one bit. Jonathan Smith is an offensive Mark D'Antonio.
You mean from last week to this week, or over the last 15 years?
I'm saying they know exactly what to expect. He's not going to change his approach every week.
I think the players still have to go out and play. We talk about Aiden Childs and the game that he had last week. I thought they had some ups and some downs, but at the end of the day, he pulled things together and was able to pull a victory out, and he was able to do it with his legs. So you want to continue to see that growth, him make the good decisions, make sure he continues to take care of the football.
This would be a bad time to think you invented the game.
And Jonathan Smith never gives off that vibe.
No,
absolutely.
I don't think so. Not at all.
He's Mark D'Antonio.
But see, offensively, to me, if Childs doesn't make the mistakes, right, you have Nick Marsh. You have a legit run game. You have an offensive line, Jerry, that is significantly better than last year. And I feel like the defense has always been either there or close. If this offense doesn't put this defense in precarious situations, Michigan State, especially at home, is a team that's going to be in most, if not all, of the football games it plays this year.
Yeah, no doubt. And with a quarterback and with a defense, Joe Rossi does a great job of coordinating the defense. Good quarterback, good defensive coordinator, you always have a chance.
Yeah, I like to continue to watch this secondary continue to develop. Some guys that they've brought in out of the portal that they really expect to have a big season and big contributions to this team.
Yeah, important always to win. Michigan State, Rutgers, with the opportunity to go 3 up and 3 down in their respective non-conference schedules. For Howard Griffith and Jerry DiNardo, I'm Rick Pizzo as we wrap up Game Break. For those of you headed to East Lansing, enjoy Guy Haberman, Yogi Roth, and Rhett Lewis. Rutgers, you get Jason Horowitz, Matt Millen, and company. Enjoy the calls.
The following is a presentation of the Big Ten Conference.
Last week it was a party here in East Lansing after Aiden Childs found Omari Kelly in the end zone, a two-point conversion in the second overtime that walked off the win for Michigan State, avenging last year's loss to Boston College. Today they try to keep it going. And the Michigan State Spartans ready to rock and roll and try to get to 3-0 today against Youngstown State, a historic program out of Northeast Ohio. And the FCS, both teams enter at 2-0 here at Spartan Stadium. The sun just peeking through on this heavily filtered day, 77 degrees, humidity around 50%, and a fan base that's been hanging out all week, ready to try and get after it again after last week's dramatic win. The head coach of the Spartans is Jonathan Smith, and he's down on the field with Rhett Lewis. Rhett?
Coach, you called the 2-overtime win over BC a potential growth game. How does your preparation in the lead up and your execution today make this a growth week for your program?
Well, it is an opportunity to continue to grow. I thought last week we took some steps and wanted to build some confidence from that. I think it was a good week of work, did some good on good, all of that. We'll see how that plays out today.
Coach, Nick Marsh's competitive spirit called for the ball, right, last week. Using a phrase from Keyshawn Johnson, how do you get him the damn ball today?
Yeah, we're definitely going to work to do it. He's a special player, competitive kid. I will tell you, he's all about the team, and he thinks he can help the team by getting them the ball. We definitely want to do it.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, Rhett, and welcome into the broadcast booth along with Yogi Roth. I'm Guy Haberman, and this is a fun day. Jonathan Smith is an old quarterback. He knows what it means to feed a great receiver, and he's got one. Vibes are high in East Lansing.
They are, and he referenced the growth game, the growth week. Look, the best teams, they make the turn from hoping things go well to knowing they go well. Late in the game last week in this very stadium, I think they made that turn. This week in practice, they feel as though they've made that turn. Can they execute today for 4 quarters in all phases? We will find out.
Well, Aiden Childs, the quarterback, was the co-Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week last week. He told us on Friday he gave himself a C+ grade for the game. Let's look back at the tape. I don't know what grade you're giving him, but it's got to be better than that.
Yeah, for me, yeah, I'm an easy grader guy. You go look at the tape, and to me, last week was the last game he played at 19 years old. His birthday was yesterday. This was the best throw in his young career as a quarterback. His anticipation, his location, it's all time. When he gets rid of the football to Omari Kelly on a 3rd down was critical. How about this? You won't see this very often in college football, folks. I formation, deep play action pass, and an absolute shot to that very receiver, Nick Marsh. How about late hands? Perfect execution there from the young wide receiver, 41-yard touchdown. And then it's a 3rd down, 11 yards to go to the goal. And they find Marsh again. 1, 2, 3 tackles broken. He's so physical. He's so strong. I want to talk about being physical and being strong. How about Aiden Childs playing from the pocket? A big area where he's had to grow this offseason. This was a 3rd and 8. He knew where the sticks are. He knew how to move the chains. He knew how to use his legs. He's playing the most complete of his young career. He gave himself a C+. I give him a B. We'll see how he does today. He'll be tested again.
It was a historic day. First Spartan with 5 touchdowns in a game since 2021. He turned 20 years old. Yogi referenced his birthday yesterday on Friday. His 3rd year with Jonathan Smith, his 2nd year here at Michigan State, his 2nd year as a starting quarterback. So Jonathan Smith on one side, and on the other side, the head coach at Youngstown State is Doug Phillips. Started his coaching career back in 1991 as a graduate assistant under Jim Tressel at Youngstown State. They're going to win a national championship, and now he is back in his 6th season at the place he always dreamed of coaching. Michigan State won the toss and chose to defer to the second half. So Youngstown State is going to get the ball first here to start this game. half those folks are on the field at the end of the game last Saturday night. A little bit of a break in the clouds just before kickoff on what has been a beautiful weekend. Just a little bit of drizzle this morning, but otherwise a dry week in some respects here in East Lansing. Ryan Eckley has it teed up and is ready to kick it away to Flash Wilson, who's back deep for Youngstown State. Dramatic win last week for Michigan State. A dominant win last week for Youngstown State, 56-17 over Robert Morris.
I love what head coach at Youngstown State, Doug Phillips, told his team prior to this when he said, what do you want to be remembered for? You know, this is one of those opportunities, one of those games, especially at their level with the way the playoffs work. How they play in this game could dictate seeding, placements, but overall an opportunity for his team having success early on in this season.
All right, clock is set. Here comes Ryan Eckley to boot it away. And Flash Wilson will fair catch it out to the 25-yard line. And a Youngstown State offense that has a very clear engine, and it's the quarterback, Bo Brungard. Brungard is not only the leading rusher in FCS football, he has rushed for more yards than any player, not just quarterback Yogi, any player at the FBS or FCS level this year.
Yeah, this offense goes through him on many levels.
Game clock to 15 minutes. Thank you.
QB run game is a huge part of what Youngstown State will do offensively. You know the name of their OC, Mike Yursich. He spent time at Penn State in the Big Ten only a few years ago.
Brungard on the move with some space and a great gain to start the game for Youngstown State. You take a look at the Penguins' offensive starters today after that pickup of 7 yards. Des Lee is their left tackle. Max Tomczak is their best receiver. He's been their most consistent, productive. There's Des Lee at left tackle, who they think has a big-time ceiling.
And you know Tomczak, you know that last name. His uncle, Mike Tomczak, is on the staff at Youngstown State as well.
Couple of backs in the game. For Brungard, he'll give it off to Tahir Mills, and he gets swallowed up. A very short gain, maybe 1 yard. It's a Michigan State defense. They played much better in the second half last week. They bottled up a little bit. Boston College able to score in the overtime, but this group itching to get back after it under defensive coordinator Joe Rossi. Jordan Hall, the Big Ten's defensive player of the week last week. And big news for Nakai Martinez, injured in the offseason, but he returns after missing the first 2 games to start at safety.
And he's huge here on third downs as one of the top communicators of this defense.
Youngstown State spreads it out, and Brungard connects for a first down with Archie Dandridge. And across the 40 goes Youngstown State, a pick of 8.
It's going to be fun to watch today. The edges of Michigan State. They're not coming off with a ton of violence and speed because they know that Brungard could tuck it and run. So you're rushing controlled, which is allowing him to see a passing lane. That's going to be the chess match we'll see from Coach Rossi against this offense and this playmaker at QB.
4 receivers and a tight end on the field again, spread out for Brungard. He gets it out of his hands quickly to Jaden Gilbert, and Gilbert's able to power his way just across the 45-yard line, a pickup of 5 yards.
A huge part of this offense for Youngstown State guys is just getting the ball out. They know if they sit back in the pocket, it's going to be a challenging afternoon into the evening here in this stadium. And you've seen it early on the 2 completions. The ball is out immediately. You're curious if Michigan State starts to press a little bit on the outside, try to disrupt a little timing.
Now Brungard's under center. Gets it out quick for an early trick play, a double pass attempt. Fresh Walters lets it go out of bounds. Well defended by Michigan State, and it's 3rd and 5. It's time to take a look at today's keys to the game, sponsored by Modelo, Yogi.
Well, you just saw it from Youngstown State. No risk it, no biscuit. I mean, if they want to pull off a huge upset, they've got to take shots down the field, some trick plays. You saw an early one there. And then for Michigan State, how do they contain the quarterback? How do they minimize self-inflicted negatives like penalties and drops? And offensively, they got to feed the studs.
So first drive double passes are 0 for 2. If you look at New Mexico, UCLA last night, New Mexico broke out 2 trick plays to start that game. 0 for 3, that's right. Here's a third down throw, complete. Austin Bray, very near the line to gain. Looks like he's getting marked just short. And it's 4th down and inches just across midfield.
Yeah, you've seen this all over college football, guy. 4-down territory, meaning on 3rd down, head coach, coordinator say you got 2 downs to get it. You'll see that a lot today from Coach Phillips in Youngstown State in this regard.
Youngstown State has been good.
On the previous play, the runner being short of the line to gain is under further video review.
That's Greg Blum, our referee. Youngstown State's been good on 4th down. Should have come to that. 3 for 4 this year, but let's take another look here. This is marked just shy, and you can see the sticks. It's got to get across the 50 to the 49-yard line on the other side, and I think that's a first down, Yogi.
Yeah, I would agree.
Let's see. There's a knee go down here from Bray.
It's hard to tell from there. Remember, they're down Colt Seacrest at tight end, so Brays really have to step up at that position for this team. It's right there on that yard line. I think that's enough for a first down.
You know, you're looking for clear and obvious. Pretzloff, the tackle there, Brady Pretzloff had Bray on top of him. If nothing else, this is a good stoppage by the replay team because this is worthy of a look. You want to take a, he's got to get the 49. I think we can say the ball's across the 49.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's just got to be, remember, just a sliver. So we'll see when they measure that with the sticks. But a great shot by the crew right down the line there.
And again, it's the second 49-yard line there, but he's clearly down there. Whole ball by that point was across, but he was well down.
After review, the ruling that the runner was short of the line to gain is upheld. It's 4th down.
So clear and obvious is the word we're looking for there, and just not enough. Or the phrase we're looking for. So now we got a 4th down, and the offense is staying out there.
And the previous play before the review, Youngstown State came out with an extra offensive lineman. They don't do that here. And they're in the gun. You got to imagine some sort of QB lead here. Keep the ball in Brungard's hands.
He's run for 409 yards entering play today in 2 games. About half a yard to go for Youngstown State. Brungard looking. Can he get to the edge? That is very close. Where'd he step out? With the ball across the line to gain, and that is a first down. 4th down conversion for the Penguins.
How about the decision? Watch him here. You'll see Tomczak open up right across the field, right in front of him. I thought I was going to pitch it to him. He said, nope, I want the ball in my hands. We had a chance to talk to him this week. That's kind of the vibe you get. Right? He's an absolute gamer. When it's tight, he wants the rock. The staff knows that. You're talking to the staff. They say he actually inspires us to work so much with the care factor, how much he pours into the craft. Nice conversion there.
Yeah, Mike Yursich, the offensive coordinator, said he regularly beats me to the facility. Here's a trick play. It eventually gets to the quarterback, and Brungard throws it complete to Alex McDonald, the first catch of his career. Second trick play of this opening drive for the Penguins.
This is pretty nice. Look at the alignment right there, and then watch as the play unfolds with the tight end, to your point. One pitch back to the quarterback. You think that they're misaligned, and then it's right down the seam. That's an easy one. And it's fun talking to Michigan State yesterday, right? They said, we went back to Oklahoma State film when when Yursich was calling plays. Joe Rossi said, we have to study him. And they knew they would try some early trick plays.
Extra offensive lineman in the game for Youngstown State, and the handoff inside to Tahir Mills. It's Wayne Matthews with that stop after a short gain. So they brought in Nick Nelson wearing 96. He'll go off now, but he's sort of an extra offensive lineman, extra tight end for Youngstown State.
Michigan State, not dramatic in terms of how many pressures they have, but I got to imagine, do they try to mix things up? The problem is if you do it and Brumgard can get by you, it could be a big explosive game.
10th play of this opening drive for Youngstown State, headed towards the student section. Brumgard pulls it down, weaves his way, breaks a tackle, and just continues to pick up yards. Finally pushed out by Wayne Matthews, but not before he picked up 7.
You hear gap sound, that term, all of the time. You're going to have to do it. I thought he was going to run right behind his center. I thought there's a gap right there. He sees a little green color. He flashes, and Bell can't make the tackle. You'll see it to the bottom of the screen. Thinks like he's going to go right up the middle of the defense, says nope, and then it's his athleticism. And if you are Michigan State, if there was one game you got to be gap sound, it's against an athletic dual threat quarterback, and it's been advantage Youngstown State and Brumgard on this drive.
Extra lineman in the game for Brumgard out of the shotgun. On 3rd down and short, it's Mills burrowing his way for a first down.
Well, this is where things tighten up for Youngstown State. This is all about true execution. If you're going to upset Michigan State today, you got to come away with 6 when you get into the red zone. And look how they're huddling, they're taking time. Coach Phillips got to be happy with his opening drive. Remember last week against Boston College, Michigan State struggled here. It lost some tight ends in the seams on some over routes. See how they adjust.
Pressure up the middle. Brumgard gets away, and he's able to make something out of a play that was blown up by Quindarius Dunnigan. Gets a couple.
He's so elusive. You know, there's part of this when you rush a quarterback like Brumgard where you want to come in control, but you also have to sometimes just take your shot. You'll see it coming at you. Look at this defensive line as the play unfolds. Right inside right there. Has a shot, and it's hard because he lost contain. He's playing the defensive end position. So that is the balance on the defensive line. Contain versus making a play. It's hard against this type of athlete at QB.
13th play of this opening drive. Spread out again. Brumgard with time and off the hands of Bray, incomplete, and it's 3rd and 8.
It's a concept that Youngstown State loves. Wouldn't be shocked if they came back to it. Some sort of corner route. Try to attract the flat defenders, manipulate the eyes of the back end. It's where they've had success in the red zone in the first few games of the season.
They've scored 9 touchdowns on 10 red zone trips in their first 2 games.
And in for Michigan State is number 11, Lafayette, off the edge of the bottom of the screen. You'll see him. He's their best pass rusher.
Bray, the tight end, in motion. Brumgard running that way, looking for some blocks, and that play is snuffed out and erased. Jalen Thompson all over it, and now it's 4th down and about 5, maybe 6.
Yeah, keep an eye on Lafayette. We said he just came into the game. Watch him keep that outside arm free. Right, you see that's gap sound football, forcing it back into your teammates. They could play it from the inside out. It's exactly what happens with the rest of that defense, giving that defensive line and Jalen Thompson a chance.
Andrew Lastavka is on for the field goal, a 28-yard attempt. And on a night with no breeze, no wind, an opening play, an opening drive that went 15 plays. You include the field goal, and Youngstown State comes away with 3. If you're looking for the Rutgers-Norfolk State game, go to big10.org/BTN Game Finder right now to see where you can find the game in your area. Youngstown State, 15 plays to open up this game and get a field goal. They've been very good on their first drives going back to last year. 4 touchdowns and a field goal they've scored on their last 5 opening drives. That play, if you blinked, half the first quarter is gone after that drive. Michigan State about to touch the ball for the first time. Elijah Tautoliver is going to bring this out for the Spartans and gets out to about the 18-yard line. And so Aiden Childs will step on the field for the first time when we return. Michigan State's offense looking to answer. Youngstown State takes the ball first, scores on the opening drive, and now Michigan State with 7 minutes and 39 seconds on that opening drive, plus the kickoff return elapsed. And here's Aiden Childs coming off the 4 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown performance last week, Yogi.
His most complete performance. He was able to stay steady. He has not turned the ball over this season. Hasn't turned it over in the last 5 games. Talked to him yesterday. He said he's feeling as good as he ever has in terms of seeing the game and knowing the situation.
And he's going to give it to Mekhi Frazier on first down. It makes the first man miss and then gets hit from behind by Michael Voitis, the key defensive lineman for Youngstown State. Pick up a 5 yards for Frazier. Starting today with Nick Marsh, one of the best in the league, one of the best in the country, and Omari Kelly. What a combo they are. The couple of tight ends, Velling and Masunis as well. Matt Golden at center, the stalwart of this offensive line that'll rotate at the tackles and maybe even the guard positions today.
I wouldn't be shocked to see a shot early on in this game.
Childs gets it out quick, and that is caught. Nick Marsh breaks a tackle. First down, Marsh racing across midfield. How do you bring this man down?
Well, it's a challenge, right? Guy you want to play off coverage. They're going to pitch and catch it all afternoon long. This is an impressive duo right here. Watch this route. He's going to just run and turn around. It's going to be simple. The DB, he's just backing up the whole time. You got to squat a little bit. They're trying to play zone coverage. But if you're going to do that, you've got to make sure tackles rally to the football. The Athletic, a subtle little move to the outside, comes back inside. Explosive play, first one of the day for Marsh.
28 yards. Youngstown State is without its top corner, DJ Harris, today due to injury. Childs now on play action. On the move, and he throws that, and holding on complete, Mekhi Frazier. Oh, he took a pop. Oh, that's Marsh, excuse me, his second catch of the game. And he's still hard to bring down.
There's so much fun about this play. Look at the play action, right? It looks like it's outside zone. Look at that fake. Nope, I'm going to close the closet door. That's the phrase at quarterback play action. And then not to his first receiver, to his second, and throws it inside a little bit. That location is away from the defender guy. That's a big-time awareness throw. And then to your point, Marsh takes a shot, showcasing again the physicality, the strength that he has as a wideout.
A 28-yard catch for him, and now a 10-yard catch. And it's back to Frazier. And that's going nowhere. He gets swallowed up by Ebony Curry Jr. A loss of 1 yard, and it's second down and 11. Michael Wells, the rush end, he's been playing that position for 6 weeks, he told us, but it's been an instant impact for him. Zandier back for Youngstown State last week. He missed half of that game to open. They didn't miss him. Dathan Hakey is the free safety who missed that opening tackle on Nick Marsh. But a good stop there from Youngstown State. So second and 11. Back to the ground. Frazier. And he gets some of it back. And it'll bring up third down and about 6.
Now, this is an interesting situation to me. I think this is 4-down territory, guy, meaning for Jonathan Smith and Brian Lindgren, the offensive coordinator for Michigan State, you only got to get half. You're going to go for it on the 4th down. So it just opens up your menu of plays. Wouldn't be shocked to see the tight ends get involved here as Aiden Childs reading off that wristband in the huddle.
As the ball sits right now, it is right on the fringe of the longest field goal range that Jonathan Smith would like. So third down and 6. And Michigan State is going to take the timeout with the play clock low. 3rd and 6 coming up for the Spartans on their first possession of the day.
First team charge timeout, Michigan State. Timeout in the field. Game clock operator.
Football on the Big Ten Network is brought to you by Auto Owners Insurance. And by Discover, the official credit card of the Big Ten Conference. It was a great scene last week, the double overtime win over Boston College. And the question, you know, Rhett Lewis asked Jonathan Smith this before the game, was that a growth game, a breakthrough game early here in year 2 of his tenure? After the Michigan State timeout, 3rd down and 6 for Aiden Childs. And he's going to hand it off to Mekhi Frazier, and he loses a yard. Dane Hodge was all over it, maybe lost 2. And if you were thinking 4-down territory, Yogi, what do you do here?
Well, it's still 4-down territory. Just watch the interior. Look at these 2 linebackers. You're thinking, are they going to come? Are they going to come as the snap evolves? Not really. Just kind of hanging there, and then boom, they make a play. And that's a nice job of the eyes of this linebacking core of Youngstown State. It's easy to allow these big old linemen to get up in your pads. It's a physical group up front for the Spartans. Didn't allow that.
4th down and 8. Michigan State going for it. First possession of the day for the Spartans. Childs moving around in the pocket. Now he's going to break free. And Childs has the first down. Just a yard or 2 past the sticks. A pickup of 10 when he needed it. For the first time he ever played a game not as a teenager.
Watch the head of Aiden Childs as this play unfolds. He starts taking a drop guy, and he is steady the whole time. He's not up and down. You see him? Easy, easy, assess, and then boom, climb through the pocket, know where the sticks are.
Was watching Aiden Childs during that entire Youngstown State drive, just was sitting in the same chair, just focused, laser focused. Sometimes he told us yesterday he thinks about things other than football when he's on the sideline, just to keep his mind fresh as he makes his 3rd attempt here.
And he finds Amari Kelly, and Kelly picks up another Michigan State first down.
And Guy said that, you know, sometimes he's thinking about what he's going to have for dinner later that night, which we know last night was a 38-ounce steak for his birthday. Sounds like it was pretty good fuel early on.
Yeah, that's a good point, Red. I mean, he wants to be free. He wants to play clear. The staff knows that. There's another one of those play actions. They say in the quarterback role, you want to get dirty on that fake, almost kind of get near the ground. He does that, almost throws the corner, sees the coverage change, boom, drops it down to Kelly for the first down.
Fullback Jay Coyne makes his first appearance for this 9th play of the drive, and Childs is going to hand it off again. This is Frazier for 5 hard yards, and it's 2nd down.
You reference the offensive line guy and the rotations. They're coached by Jim Mahalchik, who, you talk to anybody in the country, who's the best offensive line coach, his name's immediately going to get to the top of that list. And a big part of it is the stretch scheme, the zone running scheme, meaning his offensive lines have always been athletic. At every stop he has been over his illustrious career, they're trying to get the defensive line running, and then the back will cut off of the backside of the offensive line.
Jack Velling, the tight end, goes in motion. 2 tight ends in the game. Flip it on the end around, and still on his feet, Rodney Bullard Jr. Now he's got a couple of blocks, and he's in. The first touchdown of his career puts Michigan State in the end zone. A 4th down conversion and an answer for the Spartans.
This is impressive on a bunch of levels. Not only the run, but how about the offensive line? It's going to come right in front of you. You'll see big number 70 right there. Luka Vincic, he makes the block. And Bullard does the rest. His athleticism on display.
Vincic making his first start today at Michigan State. Originally in Oregon State. Transfer for Jonathan Smith as Martin Connaughton hits the point after. So Michigan State with a long drive of its own to take a 7-3 lead. Each team's had the ball once. 1:13 left in the first quarter. 7-3. Michigan State leading right now. The first 250 fans will get $20 off a Big Ten Plus annual pass. Stream nearly 200 Michigan State games plus 2,500 more events across the Big Ten this season. Scan the QR code on the screen. Or go to Big10Plus.com. Make sure you enter FB20 when selecting an annual pass at checkout.
Does this not feel like a conference game? Like one possession per team in the first quarter, basically? You know, like that's kind of how it goes in Big Ten play.
Right now, Kirk Ferentz is calculating how many more plays there are. He and PJ Fleck, right?
Coach D'Antonio is also like, hey, this is what he was used to back in the day when he was having all the success here in this very stadium.
Flash Wilson will let this head into the end zone. And let's go to Dave Revston in Chicago with a studio update.
All right, Guy, I want to catch you up on what's going on with the nation's #2 team, Penn State. Nick Singleton, 36th rushing touchdown of his career, most of any player in the nation. They lead Villanova 7-0.
All right, Dave, thank you. Penn State with Singleton. Drew Aller is nearing a historic mark as well there. 7,000 passing yards, trying to become just the 5th Penn State quarterback ever to do that. Second possession for Youngstown State, and Bo Brungard had a 15-play drive to open the game.
Tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised here to see a little bit of pressure to force Youngstown State and Bo Brungard to flush to his left, to the boundary, the short side of the field.
Brungard's going to give it to Tahir Mills. And let's go back to the Michigan State touchdown, Yogi.
This is a really athletic play from Luka Vincic. He's starting at right guard today. Watch as the play unfolds. He's at right guard. It is a muddied mess inside. He keeps his feet moving. He comes out of the fray to deliver 1, 2, 3 blocks to allow Bullard to find the end zone. You know, we had a chance to talk to Coach Mahalchik in advance of the game and say, what's going on in the offensive line? They're playing a lot of guys because they've all earned the right to play. They've all earned the right to play. It's a long season. It's been rotating. It's been really healthy for the group. Really healthy play right there for his starting right guard.
Now 2nd down and 8 with the play clock down at 5. Brungard stands in and delivers right on the money. Max Tomczak, his first catch today. It'll bring up 3rd and short.
And I think you just want to get to the quarter. If you're Youngstown State, you want to shorten this game as much as possible. Give yourself as much time as you need on a 3rd and short, as we're under 5 here in the first.
See the play clock low as Doug Phillips looks up. And a 3rd down and 2 coming up to start the 2nd quarter for Youngstown State.
The first quarter.
The young men from Northeast Ohio hopped on a bus yesterday morning, made the 4-hour drive, came to the stadium, looked around, looked ready to roll so far today.
Really impressive initial drive from Youngstown State. Big reason is that QB, Bo Brungard. He gets the wide side of the field. It's going to be advantage Youngstown State every time. You try to force him to the boundary. He's still athletic enough to get a 1st down as he did there. And here they go on a key 3rd down.
3rd down and 2. They look to the sideline. Plenty of play clock to play with as we start the 2nd quarter and continue the 2nd drive of the game for Youngstown State. Brungard with time, throws into traffic, and it's broken up by Malcolm Bell, the senior defensive back, who's trying to get it to Arcade Dandridge, and it's 4th and 2.
That's a big time adjustment to Joe Rossi. You see him playing press coverage, try to disrupt the release at the line of scrimmage, and Bell beautifully played with that right arm over the outside, no PI. Joe Rossi talked to us yesterday about this defense. The #1 mantra, the #1 theme is respond. How do we respond? And part of that is acknowledging where you struggled on that first drive. You saw him change, saw a little pressure, try to keep and corral that quarterback in Brungard towards the short side of the field.
A great punter matchup today. Brendan Kilpatrick, the best punter in FCS football last year, on Youngstown State side, and he sends this away to Amari Kelly, who's going to watch that liner bounce all the way down inside the 15. And a nice job by Kilpatrick to flip the field a little bit. And it's time to take a look at today's impact players. Sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance, simple human sense.
Well, it's pretty obvious to pick Nick Marsh. His impact has been felt since he showed up on campus. On the other side, Michael Wells defensively, you'll see him come on the fielder. How does he do against Aiden Childs? Can he slow his legs down? Can he be the guy that can make a play in the backfield? And when Youngstown State gets the ball again, I think they got to find a way to find Max Tomczak, the rock, and Jordan Hall. He has been the rock for this defense.
2nd possession now for Michigan State. Nick Marsh had a couple of catches on that opening drive. And no surprise, this is the 3rd most prolific duo active in the Big Ten right now between quarterback and receiver. Here's Childs as that play breaks down, scrambling for 3 yards. In short order, Marsh and Childs have gotten on the same page. You see what they've done. 49 connections going back to Marsh's great year last year as a freshman.
I just love how they've grown together. You know, while Aiden Childs is a year older academically, he just turned 20 yesterday, as we referenced earlier with Rhett. These guys have grown in this system under Jonathan Smith. They know their ability, they know their potential. They put all the little work in the offseason to have a really impactful year.
Childs is going to give it. First carry of the day for Brandon Tullis. And it'll bring up 3rd down and a long 3.
I just think these wideouts are really talented. You know, guy, we talked about Nick Marsh, Amari Kelly. We've seen him at times. Is there a world where you spread them out? They go a little up-tempo, no huddle here. Find a way to just get the ball, one of them in space.
Quickly to Childs. Long throw to Marsh. First down, Marsh free again down the sideline before he's upended. And he has been a first down machine so far today.
Look, the football term is free access. What that basically means is you're allowing Nick Marsh to run off the line of scrimmage without being impeded, without being touched. I mean, that is an easy pitch and catch, not an easy throw. Full field throw. Aiden Childs makes that look pretty simple. But overall, if Youngstown State is going to play off, you've got to take that all game long.
Marsh has gotten a healthy and steady diet, and here's another one for him. One-on-one. And another first down for Marsh, and still fighting. Good luck tackling him with 1 or 2.
Well, what did he say last week? He was relatively demanding, right? Pretty stern of, hey, I want the rock. I know what I can do when I get it. Jonathan Smith said, yeah, you're exactly right. We want to feed you. Only 24 plays in the first half against Boston College. So not a lot of opportunities last week. They found him early and often over the course of the last 3 quarters and change.
He's got 4 catches for 65 yards today. Getting a rest now. And they'll go back to Frazier. And he goes down at the line of scrimmage. And Yogi, this is what you talked about, Nick Marsh, last week after the game.
I'm like, look, coach, let's take a shot. And, you know, he trusted me with that, and we got back out there, took a shot, and, you know, just executed on it.
Were those the words you used, or was it a more dramatic conversation?
It was a little more demanding, actually. I told him, Coach, I got one-on-one coverage. Give me the damn ball.
How great is that?
Off coverage, I'm going to him pretty regularly.
It was fun talking to Jonathan Smith about it this week. Of course, he goes, you know what, we looked at the numbers. He's right. We do need to get him the ball more. Here's Amari Kelly taking his turn and a first down. Rhett?
Yeah, guys, anybody watching Nick Marsh's talent would agree with his assessment. When he's one-on-one, you got to get him the damn ball, including the originator of that line, Keyshawn Johnson. So I had to get in touch with Keyshawn this week, who said that line wasn't really an ego-driven demand. It was a competitive confidence that just made good things happen when I have the ball. So naturally, I had to ask Key to look at Marsh's physical touchdown and see if it was worthy.
We'll get Keyshawn's thoughts on that. I have a feeling I know what he said. 6 of 6 for Childs to start this game. And Marsh comes back in. And Childs is looking for him. And then he checks it down to Kelly. Incomplete. And this is what Keyshawn Johnson told Rhett Lewis earlier this week.
This kid, Nick Marsh, is big and strong. As you can see, physical. He gets hit at about the 5-yard line. He carries 2 other guys into the end zone with him. And that's the type of player you want to just get a damn ball to.
Let's go, right? You get the seal of approval, right, from Keyshawn Johnson. Remember that? Get me the damn ball. That was the name of his book, a big part of it right there. And it was really cool to kind of talk with him about Nick Marsh. Loves what he's seen from number 6 in green.
When does Nick's book come out?
Good question.
I think he's writing it this season, fellas, with how he plays.
That's a great call. Here's Frazier. Well, I guess it came out last year to that point, Yogi, a freshman record. You saw the graphic earlier for yards and receptions here at Michigan State last year. He enters play today, 3 receiving touchdowns, tied for the league lead.
Well, I think to Rhett's point around competitive confidence, every great wideout we've ever been around, whether it was Rhett Lewis or Keyshawn Johnson or right here and Nick Marsh, you got to have it. You know, you need the ball, and you also have to understand the holistic element of what wins games. That's why I love watching him when he's not having the ball target. He's still blocking downfield. He's not a lazy route runner away from the ball. He does a lot of those things to be a true, complete wideout.
3rd down and 7. Childs. All the time in the world. And there is Jack Belling. And they can't tackle him. and the tight end has a first down and is in the red zone.
The number one element of the offseason for Aiden Childs was playing from the pocket. They're going fast here. Watch him play and stay within the pocket. There's your tight end, number 12. The bottom of the screen, just sit right in the middle, right over the ball. Converts it, nice job.
Youngstown State takes a timeout.
First team charge timeout.
And so we'll step aside before this first down in the red zone for the Spartans.
Welcome back, and this right here from Aiden Childs, guy, this is graduate level play. Playing from the pocket, that's the pocket. Watch Jack Belling, he's gonna come sit right over the ball. Aiden Childs, last year he was running out, feels a little bit of pressure. Not this year, slides over one, up one, delivers a strike, they get a first down. How about sitting in the pocket? There's a great angle right here. Watch him sit in the pocket. He understands there's pressure, he slides over just a hair, gives himself a lane to throw the ball, finds his favorite tight end, and away they go.
Both tight ends in the game again. Tullis is the back. And Childs is going to give it on the end around to Krishan McCray. Looking for the edge. He's got it. Now he's trying to cut it back. And the pursuit recovers. And that is a no gain. No loss, no gain. Second down.
Youngstown State has been playing relatively sound. Even on the touchdown they got beat, they were there to make the play. Just missed the tackle. So I don't know if any of those are going to work this afternoon for Michigan State, but why do you do them? You do them to make sure those edges are thinking it. Again, the core of this offense is that stretch run game. So you have defensive linemen flying upfield, disrupting it. That is not good for Michigan State. So sometimes it's a negative play, but it's going to keep the edges honest.
Second down. Childs pumps, looks, throws, Belling, and he brought it down. Another first down on a tough catch. The tight end, he's battled some injuries, Yogi, but they really feel like he's getting into form.
Yeah, they do. Well, like last week, similar play in this very end zone. Couldn't make the catch. How about this catch? This is awesome. 12 delays the block, subtle. He's a vet. And then the throw up and away from the defender from Aiden Childs. Nice play. The two transfers from Oregon State.
Three tight ends in the game now with the fullback as well, Jay Coyne, in front of Makai Frazier. Childs going to turn and give, and Frazier pulls away. A flag comes in the end zone. Now we'll check on this penalty. Greg Blum sorting it out.
Illegal substitution, defense, 12 players participating in the previous play. Half the distance to the goal remains first down.
As you saw Phillips going off the field there, the offensive lineman from Michigan State.
12 men on the field, easy call.
Is that a bear front? An extra bear front?
Yeah. That's a grizzly front, maybe.
So now first down. Three tight ends plus the fullback. Coyne is still in the game, 44, the fullback. He's just attached to the left. They're going to toss it to Frazier. And Frazier breaks through. Touchdown, Spartans.
Well, it started with this play to his tight end, Jack Belling. Perfect location. Then 2 plays later, a little toss. How about Connor Moore, number 58, leading the way. Touchdown, Michigan State.
Connaughton, who got the kicking job last week in dramatic fashion, his second successful extra point of the day.
They've done it all different ways today. That man, Makai Frazier, getting into the mix.
All right. Well, this was the scene after week 1. Jonathan Smith found a special guest in the locker room to give the game ball to new athletics director Jay Batt at Michigan State. Been on the job a few months, already got a game ball, and welcome him to the booth. Welcome. What was that like? That was cool.
Tremendous. It was a lot of fun. You know, anytime you can be in a winning locker room, sure, a lot of fun. And then, you know, getting a game ball from Jonathan and the team is awesome. We've got such a great group in there, and our coaches are tremendous. It was a fun time.
Are the kids running with that ball in the backyard?
You better believe not. That thing's in my office in a special spot. I'll cherish that one for a long time.
Yeah, you've been in a bunch of different offices with elite leaders, whether it was back when you were an athlete, Anson Dorrance, of course, a historic coach at North Carolina. You were on Nick Saban. You were at Georgia Tech leading the entire thing yourself. How would you define your leadership style since you got here with this program?
Yeah, I would tell you it's a combination of a bunch of different things. You learn a lot of different things from every stop along the way. Whether it's Nick Saban and the idea that everything matters, right, and the consistency it requires to achieve, that's a big deal. And so, I think it's an amalgamation of a bunch of different leaders and mentors, whether it's Greg Byrne at Alabama, Nick Saban, even everything I got to learn around all of our great coaches at Georgia Tech. Truly I think a combination of all those.
We had a kickoff out of bounds, and so it'll come out to the 35-yard line for Youngstown State. You've been here a few months now.
Yep.
What's that been like? What's it been like? Are you settling in?
I'd say no. I'm still learning a bunch. I think it's 3 months just about to the day, and it's been tremendous. I think you can see here today our fan base is elite. The Spartan Athletic family, they care so much about our place and each other that it really has been an awesome start to the year. Great crowds the first couple of weeks, and just getting to know Michigan and our fan base has been a lot of fun.
How about pregame? Tailgating, Munn Field. Talked to Jonathan Smith about it yesterday. He said he could feel the energy that has been created with those concepts you brought to the table. What has it been like for you to watch the reception from this fan base on the things you've done?
Well, it's as you know, it's a team effort for sure, and it's been partners all over campus to execute on a bunch of different things. But the Munn Field tailgating, this place has tremendous history, tremendous traditions, and Munn Field was one of those traditions that when I got here, Coach Izzo told me Munn Field's the best tailgating spot on campus. We need to bring it back, and we are working on making that thing elite again. We've had a great couple first 2 weeks and need to keep going.
Jaden Gilbert all the way down to the 1-yard line for Youngstown State. Explosive play, 66-yard run. We'll take another look at this, Yogi.
Yeah, speaking of keeping going, he did. Thought he was down 1, 2, 3 times. Little inside handoff, runs right through a couple tackles. Nice job on that offensive line, get it to the next level. A little stutter step, cuts on back. And then it's just the effort, staying up, trying to get in the end zone. Nice job hanging on to the football guy inside the 1.
Joshua Eaton did not give up on that and got the stop. And so now Youngstown State is knocking on the door, looking for their first touchdown of the day. And Gilbert is able to, let's see, did he break the play? Right now the indication he's down just shy of the goal line. And it's going to be second down and goal. This is, of course, a historic program. We talked about Jim Tressel won national championships here. Mark D'Antonio, coach of Youngstown State. We saw him and Tom Izzo down on the field before the game. How cool was that?
It's pretty awesome. I've got a picture in my office from my first days. Coach Izzo and Coach D'Antonio at an event with me, and I'll tell you, that's one of my favorite things. Two legends for sure.
Well, if you're learning quickly, it must have been, we had the Hall of Fame induction.
That's right. Yep.
Last night, and so many dignitaries in town for this weekend as Gilbert takes it into the end zone and Youngstown State scores its first touchdown today.
Well, having Coach D'Antonio back is awesome, but so many of the others great historic athletes here that it makes for a fun evening, but certainly that's historic success is what sets the pace for the future.
Youngstown State fired up, scores the touchdown under 6 minutes.
So nice job here just finishing this drive. Another inside handoff. Anytime you got a tight end in relative motion to influence those edge players. And I'll tell you what, Youngstown State has come to play a physical group. They've been a proud program for quite some time. Coach D'Antonio, he knows that well. I know, Jay, you know that well as well. Yeah. This is going to be a fun game as we had a tight one.
Yeah, absolutely. And, certainly proud of our crowd for showing up today. Hopefully we don't need them into double overtime. We can take care of some business, but excited to be here with you guys. Thank you for the time together, and let's have another great day.
All right, thanks for the time, Jay. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Back after this. Cut up on the halftime show, sponsored by Old Trapper. Dave Revson and Marcel Reese will take you through the first half highlights, get you up to speed on a busy Saturday across the Big Ten. Marcel was up late last night.
Yeah, he was.
Back at it again today. There's Pete the Penguin, by the way. Pete the Penguin originally was a live mascot from the Antarctic in 1939. There were 3 live mascots in the history of Youngstown State, penguins. And now it's alive, but in a different way. So after Youngstown State with the touchdown, it's time for Aiden Childs to respond. He's played really well so far.
Yeah, he has. And a huge part is this stretch run game, the play action game. Is he going to hand it off? No, he's not, right? It's so challenging. You see the defense just running all the way to the back. Very similar plays. Is he going to hand it off? The defense doesn't know. They hesitate. He hands it off, and it's an explosive run. So that is a part of this offense. They've had success there. They've run it a bunch of different ways, whether it's out of the gun in a zone read. They've had 1 RPO in the first half. It's been the stretch run game that we just showcased. They've thrived in the play action game. But the one thing that has not been stopped by Youngstown State is the throw game, guy. Just opening it up. If there's going to be off coverage and these wideouts are going to get free access, Michigan State should feel really confident moving the ball down the field.
All 8 completions by Aiden Childs have been of at least 10 yards. Backs up and finds Velling, who gets cut down after a short gain by Isaiah Hackett. Childs turned around and had pressure right in his face from Michael Wells.
And they try a version. You fake the toss and you go back the other side. That's an old school play titled a naked. And nothing doing there. And again, Youngstown State has been really disciplined. They have not bit a ton on some of these potential trick plays or the fake toss.
Extra pressure from Youngstown State, and that gets out to Nick Marsh. Swipes away 1 man. Now Marsh is racing to midfield, and another first down.
Part of playing this position is being able to pluck the ball. Watch how Marsh catches this guy. He goes down low, stretches his arms out easy, and then he has such a great feel where the defender is. He looks the ball in, use that left arm as a stiff arm. Really nice job against Justin Wimpy for another explosive play, and I would keep going there. Look, Youngstown State is down 2 of their top 3 corners in this game, and Michigan State has been throwing it at will to the outside.
Another one-on-one. Marsh breaks away, is able to jump forward and get a healthy gain, right?
Coaching staff here at Michigan State feels like Nick Marsh is on a different level on game days, right? I think we could probably agree after watching this performance thus far, but they say if they can get that kind of level of play during the week of practice, then really watch out because this guy's going to reach his ceiling.
Yeah, you start thinking all across the country, all across the Big Ten, some of the more dynamic duos. He's got to be in that conversation. Already 3 broken tackles in this game.
He had 3-on-1 touchdown last week, and now flags come in and movement up front for Michigan State.
That is the first self-inflicted negative of the day for Michigan State.
False start. Offense number 58. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
And right now at 4:01, we're knocking on the door of, we track this every week, guys. The middle 8, the last 4 minutes of the first half, the first 4 of the second. Michigan State's going to get the ball coming out of the half. So can you really navigate this clock here for Jonathan Smith, something that he and Brian Lindgren, the OC, take a ton of pride in.
Swing it out to Frazier, and they can't connect. It's incomplete. Just the second incompletion of the day for Aiden Childs.
Third down.
You heard the announcement there just to confirm that was not a backwards pass and a fumble.
Yeah, and he saw his wideouts, both wideouts on the outside whiffed on the blocks. Nice job. Defensive coordinator John Hainline, somebody who's really tried to inspire this defense. He's a big fan of, like we all are, of Ted Lasso, and gave him a big speech in advance of the game. So just believe in your technique, believe in this process, and maybe we can make some noise.
Third down, 3-man rush. Childs climbs the pocket, and Krishawn McCray makes the catch. Great catch, and this is going to make it 4th down and very manageable.
Officials timeout for player injury.
Offensive lineman is down for Michigan State. It looks like Luka Vincic, and it is.
This is an impressive job by Childs. You see inside, you're thinking, is there going to be blitz from these linebackers? And on the snap, they punch out of it. And for Aiden Childs, he reads that and then sits in the pocket. See how he just navigates, moves the pocket, eyes downfield. He knows the situation. It's 4-down territory clearly. Checks it down. Now to your earlier point, guy, it's 4th and 3. They're going to go for it here. And I think that's just the growth of his game.
Meanwhile, you saw the defender fall into Vincic, and so we'll step aside for 30 seconds here in the second quarter. .335 to go second quarter. Michigan State with a 4th down and 3 coming up. And you're looking at Luka Vincic, who making his first start today. Had a key block on a first touchdown of the day for Michigan State. Just had a defender fall into his left leg. He's playing right guard, starting at right guard today for Michigan State. Can play both spots. He gets a hand as he rises to his feet. Take another look here at number 70, the right guard.
Right there. Watches the play unfolds. He's going to pass set and doesn't see the nose tackle. He gets double teamed, falls right into that left knee. Oh, your heart breaks when you see that. You know, often you see offensive linemen with these big, bulky knee braces on. Doesn't look like he has one of those big ones that we traditionally will see at times. Hopefully it's nothing serious. And then for Michigan State, 3 games, they've had 3 different starting offensive line groups. So they do have depth there. In comes Christian Phillips. He's got 1 start. It was last week against Boston College.
We saw Phillips go to the tent earlier today, so good to see him back at right guard for Michigan State. 4th down and 3, and they're going for it. Already 1 for 1 on 4th down today. Childs with time down the middle, Veleg, and it's intercepted nearly by Mekhi Shaheed. He had a chance at it, and it's better that he didn't, because instead of taking over where he would have caught it, Youngstown State's going to take over with a chance to drive down the field here in 3 minutes and 16 seconds easily.
Yeah, just a little too greedy there. You'll see number 13 right inside, right over the official right there. To me, that is where he should have gone, to Krishan McCray. He doesn't, takes a shot downfield into double coverage as the deep safety guy. That's just a miss from Aiden Childs.
Coming up, Kirk Ferentz looks to become the Big Ten's all-time winningest coach when the Hawkeyes collide with UMass as tonight 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. So Youngstown State takes over, and Jade Gilbert had that big run and the touchdown on the last possession for Youngstown State, gets a yard. By the way, we should mention our buddy Anthony Herron had 11 tackles in Kirk Ferentz's first career win back on September 18th, 1999, and he's calling the game today from the booth.
Football just has a way sometimes of being poetic. It is for Ant and that fan base to celebrate what we would potentially assume as a win there for Iowa. Hope they can get that one.
Quick throw out to Tom Zach, and he's tackled quickly after a pickup of 3 yards, and it's 3rd down.
Curious here to watch Jonathan Smith. How do they utilize their timeouts here? They obviously aren't going to call it. They would have immediately. Do they call it? Well, and is there a play here right now? When you look at the play clock, 25, 24. Does Youngstown State try to get one off as you see multiple substitution changes on the defensive front for Michigan State?
And they've got to take the timeout. The officials are not holding for that substitution, and we'll take a 30-second break.
This is a 30-second timeout.
2:09 remaining here in the second quarter. It seemed like Jonathan Smith was hoping to hold that timeout until after the 2-minute timeout. Yogi.
Yeah, it seemed as though he was hoping Youngstown State would just let the clock go to the 2-minute timeout. It looked like they weren't going to do it. It looked like Michigan State didn't feel they had the best personnel grouping on the field, so they don't call the timeout immediately. They lose about 20 seconds or so, but I like that he called the timeout because Youngstown State saw the confusion. I thought they were going to run a play, and if it's an explosive one, you're hurting yourself twice.
Well, Michigan State has 1 left before this 3rd and 6. A lot of noise here in Spartan Stadium right now. Play clock is at 3. Brungard. And there's Tomczak. First down and a block, and he's down inside the 40 before he's finally brought down by Brady Pretzloff. A pickup of 17 yards, and we hit the 2-minute timeout.
This is the 2-minute timeout.
It's a nice job here from Youngstown State. Max Tomczak. Watch this route, a little bit of a rub route with him and his fellow tight end to move the sticks, and we'll be right back.
Well, fun day already today. There's so much energy after the win over Boston College last week, and the enhanced tailgating experience here at Michigan State delivered pregame. Now the defense is trying to do the same before halftime, and they do on that first down run. Alex Van Sumeren, who was the defensive player of the game last week, despite the fact he didn't fill the box score, but the coaches got together and said he really affected the game on the defensive line.
Yeah, they want their defensive line to continue to find a little penetration. I think right now in this situation before the half, as the clock goes tick, 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 Michigan State's got to force Bo Brungard to go to his right, the short side of the field. You do not want him to have a lot of green grass to make plays with his legs on, because he will think run first.
He fakes it, now steps up and throws an interception. Picked off by Armarion Smith. A big moment for that young man last week here in this stadium. And what's been an emotional year, a big moment here again today. Wow.
Marion Smith does so much in his life, in his football life. Watch him here. He sees this the whole time. Drives right on it. No hesitation. Huge play, momentum swinger. Give Michigan State the rock back. Nobody's more excited than his teammates to watch him make a play second week in a row.
His mom, as you guys have now heard and read about, passed away last year. He is now the legal guardian of his siblings, so he is everything to everyone. 3 different people at once, he says. I'm a parent, I'm a player, and I'm a student, and he is excelling at all 3.
And you're right, Red. He really is. He's been great on the field the last 2 weeks. It's all come together for him. Here's Tullis on the check down. Michigan State does have a timeout, and that picks up about 4 yards as the clock ticks towards 1 minute. A flag down and a player down. The day on Friday was special. It was the 1-year anniversary of Armarion legally becoming the guardian for 4 of his 5 siblings. As you see Colin Vaughn down, and we'll check on the penalty.
Sideline interference. Youngstown bench, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. This penalty is against an assistant coach.
Guys, just to follow up on Armarion Smith, you know, his siblings were in the crowd. They went home to celebrate after he had that pass deflection on the 2-point conversion that essentially sealed the game win for Michigan State. Said they all stayed up till like 4 a.m. celebrating. Just what a journey it's been for him to get to this point where he's back starting, feeling confident. I imagine he might have a little bit of a late night tonight after that interception as well.
Yeah, he might. I'll tell you what, one of the more illuminating parts of his story was every Tuesday, his youngest sister sits in the defensive meetings as they're installing the game plan. I wonder if Joe Rossi was like, and right here, you might have an opportunity for interception. And maybe she picked her head up, was like, hey, big bro, you might have one. He just did.
Amira Sky, his little sister, her daycare is near the facility, and Joe Rossi told us he's got to watch his language on Tuesdays when she's in the meetings. So after the penalty, it also stopped the clock. That was the other part of it for Michigan State, the penalty, 15 yards and a clock stoppage. And they're able to hold on to that timeout. 2nd down and 5 coming up after the run from Aiden Childs. Childs back to work. And Tullis, did he get the first down? Ball came out. He's ruled down. It's ruled a first down, so the clock will stop while they move the chains. And Tullis comes up a little gimpy after he got bent backwards, but looks to be okay.
Yeah, this is the hardest part of 2-minute offense is when it's close. We'll see it here. You got to immediately line up and get the play as they get it off.
Childs out of the pocket. Boy, is he jogging? Is he runs so under control?
Well, his discernment is really impressive. And to me, things are really steady for him throughout this game. He's got the one error on the interception on the previous drive, but on this drive, a 2-minute situation, check down, check down, check down. I mean, how often do you see that? And Jonathan Smith, he shows him cut-ups every Friday about specific situational awareness, trying to gain situational mastery. The 2-minute drill being one of those areas. And so far in this drive, it's been good decision after good decision.
Again, 3-man rush. So Childs has time to throw it away.
And right now, you're looking at the clock. Right, you got 21 ticks left. You have 1 timeout. So you're going into the huddle with multiple plays. The menu in 2-minute offense for Jonathan Smith is not very long. There's a handful of plays that Aiden Childs and company, they go through all week long. They go through again on Friday, Saturday morning. What do I love? You are calling that right now. For Youngstown State, I'm saying I am taking away your top targets. Do not see Nick Marsh out there on the field either.
He's not been in on this drive, I don't think, Yogi. You had to look at Brian Lindgren there, the offensive coordinator, before this 3rd down. Well, that is a cut loose and on target throw to Rodney Bullard.
Cut loose, on target, most importantly on time guy. This again is the growth, the maturation of Aiden Childs. One hitch, ball out, location is perfect, and then tucking away from pressure for Bullard, having a pretty impressive game right here.
Already with a touchdown today for Bullard. Strong drive aided by that Youngstown State sideline penalty. 17 seconds, still the timeout. You see Nick Marsh without his helmet on there on the sideline. He's been dominant today in this first half for Michigan State. Childs with time. End zone, and can't connect with Evan Boyd. And now 12 seconds.
Just watching Nick Marsh on the sideline, you know, he's standing with a couple of his teammates here, helmet off, kind of holding on to his gloves. He does have a wrap just below his right knee. Something to follow up on, see if we can talk to Coach Smith about that at halftime.
All right, Brett, 6 catches in 6 targets for Marsh and 94 yards. So 12 seconds, Yogi, plus the timeout.
Yeah, so you got time for multiple plays here. The question is, how fast are they developing?
Childs gets that out quick. There's Velling, and he's down to the 2-yard line. And with 7 seconds, Jonathan Smith will use a timeout, and it's 1st and goal. Pick up at 23.
No timeout.
No
They're going to try to
They're
spike
gonna hurry
it.
up.
I was thinking he might try. Nice job of awareness there. Now the question is, as flags come in, if this is a flag, if this is a false start on Michigan State, it's going to be the end of the half.
That's right. They could use the timeout to avoid the 10-second runoff. See what the officials discuss here. Jonathan Smith looked like he was running down the sideline to take the timeout.
I thought he was going to. Remember, the rules state the coach is allowed to sprint out of the box, the head coach, to call a timeout. So while there's a coach's box and they try to not be outside of that, we've seen a penalty on Youngstown State already in the half. Let's see what they say here.
This might be against the defense because Greg Blum is looking at the Michigan State sideline for an answer. No.
He's saying, did he call a timeout?
Yeah.
Not all 11 players for Michigan State were set prior to the snap. That's a foul for a false start. This normally calls for a 10-second run off the game clock. However, Michigan State is using its 3rd and final team timeout to avoid the runoff.
We had this exact conversation yesterday, right?
Let's watch it all play out.
Okay, there's 12 ticks left. They make an incredible conversion, throw down the seam. Velling, where does he give the ball? Gives the ball to the official. The clock needs to stop. They need to set it. He sets it, walks away.
Oh, yep. And Velling is getting caught up.
Oh, and Youngstown State's not even on sides.
Interesting.
The official walks away without both teams even being on their line of scrimmage.
24-yard attempt here for Martin Connaughton. And it's good. Hectic. But Michigan State, they had the timeout. They're able to use it to avoid the 10-second runoff and come away with 3 points.
Well, they had the interception. They get the ball back. They will get the ball to start. And to your point, Guy, they get 3. Not pretty, not perfect, but you come away with something.
And they will get the ball to start the second half, as you said, Yogi. After a stoppage on defense to put themselves in position, the interception from Armarion Smith to help Michigan State get in position for those 3 points as we see Nick Marsh walking off. Let's go down to Rhett Lewis. Rhett?
Coach, can you take us through the end of the half thinking there with the timeout, what ultimately ended up happening?
Yeah, I think it'd be best. Obviously, we're going to spike it. Instead of with the amount of time we had, I think it's 5 or 6 seconds. It's better to use the timeout so that we would have gone for it there. But, you know, getting a field goal into the half was where we're at and like the momentum there.
Scoring off from Armarion Smith's interception there. Nick Marsh not in on that last drive. Any concern there?
Yeah, he's just working through some things. Really, the concern is what we're doing defensively. We've got to find a way to get off the field. Long run, that's misfit in a bad way. We've got to figure some things out defensively.
Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks to Jonathan Smith for his time. So 17-10 is our score here at the half after the dramatic win over Boston College last week. Work to do for Michigan State in the second half ahead.
It is halftime in East Lansing. Mekhi Frazier, his second touchdown of the year. Michigan State on top of the Penguins, 17-10 at the break. As we welcome you in the Old Trapper halftime. Dave Revson, Marcel Reese. Michigan State coming off the great win last week against Boston College. Hasn't been quite as overwhelming, but man, Aiden Childs is clicking again.
Aiden Childs is really showing his maturity and growth. Right now, early in this season, particularly in this first half, you saw that last 2-minute drive. The operation was extremely clean. Until the end, there was a little wonky with the penalty, but Aiden Childs is hitting on all cylinders, has a big-time wide receiver in Nick Marsh. We don't know why he sat out the end of that half. We don't want to speculate on an injury, but started off big with 6 catches, 94 yards. But Jack Velling showing up huge for him with some huge catches, really good catches. But I really like this operation of the Michigan State offense.
Jack Velling was a little banged up in camp. Feels like he's coming along. You hope Marsh is okay. Jonathan Smith saying he is working through some things, which I think applies to all of us. We're all working through some things. We'll hope that his are not too difficult on the injury front. Jonathan Smith also talking about Youngstown State moving the ball offensively. And again, this is a top 25 FCS team. This isn't a bad team by any stretch, but how concerned are you about what you saw defensively from the Spartans?
I am concerned. There's been some free runners on this against this defense, the Michigan State defense. They're allowing Youngstown State to rush for 93 yards in the first half. They got to get it sealed up on the running game.
Michigan State not running the ball as well as they might hope. Remember, that was a huge Achilles heel last year. They've been a little bit better here in the first 2 games this season. So that's the story in East Lansing, 17-10. Spartans on top at the half. Let's take you through everything else going on in the Big Ten, and there's really nothing going on other than rain in West Lafayette. This is supposed to be USC and Purdue, but the start delayed by some bad weather. You see Lincoln Riley trying to keep Jade Mayava happy, and Drew Brees, Marcus Allen.
Legends.
Some time to commiserate, yes. When they get that one going, obviously, we'll get you updated on what's happening. But there are a couple other games that are in progress. Number 2, Penn State and Villanova. Nicholas Singleton, 36th career rushing touchdown for him, most among active players nationally. It's 21-0 Nittany Lions. Second quarter, and Rutgers and Norfolk State been an unusual first half. Rutgers has blocked 2 punts for touchdown. Koch Sanders, the scoop and score there. 26-3, Scarlet Knights on top of Michael Vick's Norfolk State Spartans. Speaking of Spartans, the Valdosta State transfer Rodney Bullard, his first Division I touchdown. Michigan State, 17-10 over Youngstown State. More highlights coming up.
Big Ten Live Football Halftime is sponsored by Old Trapper. What's your beef?
It's the Old Trapper halftime. Dave Refson, Marcel Reese with you. Got a bunch of games in the books in the Big Ten already. Let's run through some of the early action. It started with the number 4 team in the nation, Oregon, visiting Northwestern. Maybe a little tougher than expected for the Ducks, but Dante Moore here to Kenyon Sadiq. Ducks up 17-0 at the half, and then they broke it open in the third quarter. De'Air Hill is gone, Marcel.
Out of the gate, untouched. Oh, maybe got a little shoelace there, but no trouble there getting in the end zone.
Still never lost a conference game in Big Ten play. They're undefeated. They win at 34-14. How about Michigan and Central Michigan? First drive of the game, Justice Haynes has been great for the Wolverines. Third straight game, over 100 rushing yards. Remember, Biff Poggi coaching today with the suspension to Sharon Moore, Bryce Underwood, Samaj Morgan there. Their first TD connection. Wolverines up 14-0. And then Underwood added the running dimension today, Marcel.
Calling his own number. He was hitting on all cylinders today. We saw a little bit of everything from the young quarterback. First
Michigan quarterback to go over 100 rushing yards since Devin Gardner in 2013 as they win it by 60. Nebraska and Houston Christian, Dylan Raiola, Dane Key, 39-yard touchdown. Huskers are rolling. Defense has just been phenomenal for them. They've given up 7 points in the last 2 games. Riley Van Poppel forces the fumble. Williams Winery takes it in for the touchdown. They've scored 127 points last 2 weeks and allowed just those 7, 59-7 the final. Maryland and Towson. Malik Washington continues to look good as a freshman. Good keeper here, Marcel.
Great read. A ton of composure out of him at the quarterback position. This Maryland team's looking good.
It is 17-0 at that point. And how about this for a pick six? Lakai Rowland in the end zone, and he's going the other way. 100 yards.
We're thinking, no. Yes. Go.
18th straight non-conference win, including bowl games for Maryland. That is the longest streak in the nation. Wisconsin going down to Tuscaloosa to take on the Crimson Tide, down 28-0 in the third. Vinny Anthony.
Bright spot, getting a kickoff return to the house.
Badgers down 28-7, but ensuing Bama possession. Man, Ryan Williams was just fabulous in this game. Makes a man miss there. Wisconsin's 8th straight loss against ranked teams, still winless under Luke Fickell in such games. 38-14, Bama wins it.
Big Ten Live Football Halftime is sponsored by Old Trapper. What's your beef?
Don't forget, we have potential history in the making coming up next. Iowa hosting UMass. It kicks at 7:30 Eastern Time. Kirk Ferentz, with a win, passes Woody Hayes and would become the winningest coach in Big Ten history. Second half coming up.
Today's big impact research takes us to Michigan State University, where in her lab, Carolina de Aguiar Ferreira is working alongside other Spartan researchers to find new ways to treat cancer that are both more potent and less toxic to patients. Her research focuses on precisely targeting cancer cells using isotopes produced in MSU's campus in a facility that is designed to be the world's most powerful heavy ion accelerator. Just about ready for the second half here at East Lansing. 17-10. Michigan State leading Youngstown State. Let's take a look at today's first half stats, sponsored by Belfour Property Restoration. You see the passing numbers heavily in Michigan State's favor. 10 more plays, 10 more first downs, and yet here we are in a 7-point game. Welcome you back inside. Yogi Roth, Guy Haberman, what do you think?
Well, I think explosive runs from Youngstown State has been impressive. Converting third and fourth downs at critical moments has been impressive. You heard Jonathan Smith before the half saying, we've got to fit runs better. We got to make tackles more efficiently. They struggled there in the first half. They moved the ball at relative ease. Nick Marsh has gone off. We'll see what his health is like here in the second half. But overall, this running, when you take a look at it, Guy, it has been impressive. It starts with their quarterback, Bo Brungard. He's been impressive in the first quarter, converting a few times for a first down. Fourth and short, keeping his eyes downfield. he's done a nice job. And Michigan State, they haven't pressured him a lot. I wonder if they'll do more of that here in the second half. Then a big explosive run from Jaden Gilbert all the way down inside the 1. And that man right there, Doug Phillips, he was fired up after that touchdown to make this a one-score game. And he told us, and he told his team all week long, what do you want to be remembered for? This is an opportunity. We got a ball game here. You see blowouts all across the country. Not right here in East Lansing. We got a game.
No, Alante Brown again on return. That'll sail into the end zone. And before Michigan State's offense comes out, let's go down to Rhett.
Talk to defensive coordinator John Hainline and head coach Doug Phillips over for Youngstown State. Both of them say fairly emphatically they have to be better tackling. Too many missed tackles that has led to a ton of production for Michigan State on the offensive side. The other point from Coach Phillips is we got to be better at the things we can control. Bo Brungard throws his first interception of the season. Didn't need it. He said, had a different read. We've got to focus on the things that are in our control if we want to come out victorious in this one.
A great report, right? You see the man who started his career back in '91 for Jim Tressel as a GA at Youngstown State, Doug Phillips, the head coach. Looking for his defense to step up to start this second half as Mekhi Frazier runs into a wall. Part of that tackling issue was because Nick Marsh was running wild. 6 carries, 6 receptions for 94 yards in the first half. But as we heard Jonathan Smith tell Rhett before the half, he's dealing with some things. Had the helmet off at the end of the first half, and we have not seen him at least on this first play of the second.
Yeah, but a big part of this offseason for Jonathan Smith and this staff is upgrading at the wide receiver position to support Nick Marsh. They brought in 6 new bodies there, so they do have more depth there. Omari Kelly leading the way.
Here's Frazier again, and again going nowhere, and it's 3rd down and 10.
Tell you what, John Hainline, the defensive coordinator for Youngstown State, he's done a nice job. He's done a nice job not giving up a lot of big plays down the field, other than when it's just a more talented player, Nick Marsh. I mean, how many times was it yards after the catch? They've been playing sound here. So here on a 3rd down, I wouldn't bring a bunch of pressure, guy. I would play sound as well. Little press coverage on the outside. Just try to force Aiden Childs to have to manipulate his throw.
Childs was 16 of 21 passing in the first half. Pressure here, and he checks it down, but too high for Frazier to do anything with it. Karsten Marshall comes flying in for the 6-yard loss, and it's 3 and out to start the half for Michigan State.
Now watch, they don't bring any pressure here, guy, but they do have a twist, a little bit of a stunt here. You'll see outside and then going inside. This is a nice job by this defensive line. A twist, a spin. Mike Wells, he was our key player to the game. Nice work. Oh, you hear that there, man. I mean, this is a physical game. This Youngstown State squad came out of the locker room humming.
The back, a lot of their sweatshirts have the capital F and the lowercase e. Check your periodic table, Yogi. That's iron. Being tough means a lot to the young men from Northeast Ohio. Max Tomczak in some traffic takes that punt. And so the offense back out for the Penguins coming up. Coming up on Wednesday, a star-studded volleyball doubleheader comes your way. First, Penn State battles Pitt in a top 15 showdown. Then 6th-ranked Wisconsin takes on Marquette in Milwaukee. Coverage 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app.
You know, Guy, I think it's important to talk and tell the story of Doug Phillips. I mean, it's not your traditional story in coaching. You know, he was at a graduation party when he was a young kid. He was sitting next to someone he didn't realize was working at Youngstown State, and he said, I want to get into coaching. And he said, well, come hang out. His first recruit, Mark Brungard. That's right, the father of Bo. 1991, win a couple national championships. There's the shot. How about this? This is just amazing when you see Coach Tressel, and then there's that young coach, Doug Phillips, right there. That began his path. He's been around guys like Matt Campbell at Iowa State, did a year there. Of course, worked for Coach Tressel. Has been really connected to the coaching tree that is Ohio. So much has gone through Youngstown State.
2nd and 7 for Brungard on the move, and is able, no, he's not, never mind. Jordan Hall ended that quickly.
I'll tell you what, this is really impressive, because this is an adjustment for this defense. They said, we're not going to let this QB stay outside, get outside of us. There's that man, that captain. Really, for the first time today, we call him his name guy, Jordan Hall, not allowing run guard to get outside.
And now 3rd down and 8.
Now, this is where I bring a little pressure. They haven't brought a lot today. You see the linebackers up near the line of scrimmage.
Good protection for Brungard to cut it loose, and Mike Solomon is worked out of bounds. It's incomplete. Good coverage there from Joshua Eaton. And another 3 and out for the other offense. Youngstown State will punt.
Yeah, that's a nice job from Joe Rossi. Look at, there's a body pretty much on everybody. You look at these 3 on the defensive line in the interior, and then on the outside. Defensive coaches call this like a bear front, meaning every offensive lineman is covered up. You're going to kind of give them a bear hug. What does that force? It takes away the QB run game. Youngstown State knows that. So they're saying, all right, let's take a shot outside. And I think that's advantage Michigan State. Press man coverage. They get a victory.
Brendan Kilpatrick will send Amari Kelly back. He catches that up over his head, and now is able to turn it around with some momentum. Kelly sees space. One man to beat, and he beats him. And Amari Kelly is gone. No! He gets tripped up at the 5. What a return. Austin Bray keeps him out of the end zone. But Amari Kelly ignites this crowd. That close.
Well, the best returners have the ability to just go up and snag it. He does that. High points it like he's a wideout. Makes not only one guy miss, finds a hole, and then it's the speed, leans back in, sets up his block from Darius Snow. Does he just trip? Oh, just the left arm. Nice work there. What effort from Austin Bray from Youngstown State to save a touchdown.
So it brings the offense out now for Michigan State. 83-yard punt return. Here's Tullis. And he steps in. And in a snap, special teams changes the game for the Spartans. The offense has each exchanged 3 and outs to start this second half. But special teams changes things here in the 3rd quarter. Amari Kelly had 2 fumbles last week for Michigan State. Then he had the game-winning 2-point conversion. And now he has settled in. 83 yards. Nearly a house call, but it sets up the touchdown for Brandon Tullis. And it's a 14-point lead for the Spartans. Big Ten Plus gives you access to more live Big Ten games. And Thursday, you can see women's volleyball when the Spartans battle Binghamton. Download the Big Ten Plus app today. It's always game on. Big 83-yard punt return to set up the touchdown for Michigan State after the offense started the half by going 3 and out. Defense answered with a 3 and out as well. And now Ryan Eckley will kick it away to Flash Wilson. And he lets it fly. We've got a special guest down on the field. One of the most beloved people you could find in East Lansing. Mark D'Antonio just went into the Athletics Hall of Fame here in a ceremony last night. He's with Rhett. Rhett?
Yeah, we're here with Michigan State football royalty, now Hall of Famer Mark D'Antonio. Coach, by the way, I'd have to say, I imagine the head coach in you had to be smiling, seeing the impact that special teams can have on a game, perhaps turning the tide here, right?
Oh, yeah, huge play out there, and they've done a great job with it all year.
Coach, I had a chance to talk to one of your former bosses, now Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel, who said the thing he admired about you is how meticulous you were in every phase of the game. How did that demand to detail fuel your success?
I had the opportunity to work for some great coaches, Nick Saban and Coach Tressel and different people like that. And obviously that rubbed off on me. And then my dad was a very meticulous guy, so, got it at home.
No question. And, with all the success you had on the field, and then to have this kind of honor from a place that is so special to you, how do you put into words the achievement of now being a Hall of Famer here?
Yeah, these are very humbling awards. These are, in my mind, these are team awards. And when you get something like this, there's a little bit of imprint from everybody who played for me in that award. So I look at it as a team award.
Coach, a little bit of your two worlds colliding here with your Youngstown roots. I know you know Coach Doug Phillips over on the opposite sideline here very well. He says that you invest in their GA program, so still with your fingerprints there in Youngstown. How important is that to you?
Well, Youngstown sort of was where it started. Jim Tressel brought me there as a 28, 29-year-old defensive back coach, and I was there for 5 years, and he built the program. And, a little loud.
It is getting loud. They need him here on a third down. Thanks so much for spending some time with us.
Thanks so much. Go Green. Go Green.
All right, Red, that's great. That is awesome. It was fun to see him walking around the facility yesterday with his family. The ceremony was last night. They're part of the Athletics Hall of Fame class. Here's a third down for Youngstown State. Brungard under some duress and just has to throw it away. All of a sudden, Isaiah Moa just appeared in view, and he had to get that ball out.
And Moa's really that third down linebacker. Does a nice job of keeping contained. You'll see, look at really both of the edges here as the play develops, guy. It's really impressive. Keeping contained and then really spying them. That's the nice thing about this defense. They wanted to have a spy come from a bunch of different places. Nice work of Moa. Just keeping his eyes on the quarterback. You saw him go all the way across the field.
It was fun talking to Jonathan Smith, too, by the way, about how much Mark D'Antonio has supported him and what he means to the program he's around. He gives him a lot of encouragement and feedback, and obviously was happy to see him around yesterday. Here's Omari Kelly after the 83-yard punt return. He's able to make a little something there to get it out to the 35, 36-yard line. He changed the game with that 83-yard return set up the Michigan State touchdown. He nearly scored, wanted it bad. He may have another chance coming up on offense. Still ahead, Kirk Ferentz looks to become the Big Ten's all-time winningest coach when the Hawkeyes collide with UMass at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Seeking his 206th career win to pass Woody Hayes. After the punt, Michigan State takes over, first down and 10. And Aiden Childs to give it to Tullis, who just scored that touchdown on the last possession. No gain. Rhett?
A couple updates for you. Wide receiver. Wide receiver Alante Brown from Michigan State is officially out. That according to their athletic staff here. Have not yet seen Nick Marsh in the game, and I haven't seen him on the sideline either. Kind of sense that there was a little bit of discomfort in the way that he was getting up with one of his knees. So we'll kind of continue on that last reception back in the first half. We'll keep an eye on it for you.
All right, Rhett. Thank you. We've not seen Alante Brown at all. The kickoff return specialist is Michael Wells causes that 3-yard loss. We had fun talking to Michael Wells this week, Yogi, in preparation for this game. He's been playing rush end for all of 6 weeks, a new position as he's moved from linebacker.
Yeah, he's got a really fun story. He's a guy who played multiple sports growing up. He was a wideout as well when he was in high school, linebacker in high school. When he showed up at Youngstown State, he's thinking, I'm going to play safety. And he said he had a whole mentality change, but it's almost helped him a little bit because when you're playing the edge, you see a little bit less. It's kind of like see ball, get ball. He's made a lot of plays from the edge today.
3-man rush here. Childs with time on third down, and there is Omari Kelly with the first. 20-yard pickup.
You're going to drop 8 like happened right there against Aiden Childs. I think he's got the ability he's shown to really make high percentage decisions. You see him again, just kind of sit in his pocket. He knows everybody's double teamed outside of the right tackle there. They're double teaming the defensive players. He just sits there cooking steaks. Brett talked about the was a 38-ouncer that he had for his birthday. He's cooking one back there.
A couple of tight ends in the game on play action. And there's Jack Velling, who's had a productive day. And he stays upright and picks up about 8 yards.
Yeah, we saw this earlier, Guy. This is the stretch play action outside zone. It's so hard to defend. You don't see it. You don't see it in practice for Youngstown State. You rarely see it in all of college football. Aiden Childs, he's doing a little version of Peyton Manning there with that play action, and understanding that play action is such a process, and Aiden Childs has really evolved in that process under center.
2nd down and 2 coming up under center again. On the hard count, and he gives it to Tullis. And he runs for another 1st down and keeps going. Wow.
Watch this. There's so many little elements to this. Keep an eye on Jack Velling, number 12 at the tight end at the top of the screen on the snap. Watch him just get inside. They keep driving. Everybody's got such a different way to coach this. Jim Mahalchik, he does such a nice job of not only stretching it and running to a specific side, but then climbing to the next level and sealing off the backside. So the back has the ability to press the hole and then cut back if he does see a defender flash.
Jack Velling with 5 catches for 67 yards today. He's had some big ones. Now Childs is in the shotgun. Pressure, he steps away from it. Pumps, now lets it fly, and it's caught. Michael Masotis. Touchdown, Michigan State. A 28-yard connection.
This is really impressive. So many people, pass protection, offensive line throwing with a body in his face for a touchdown. Whew. Aiden Childs, one of his better plays of the year.
And now Connaughton on for the point after. And he's got it. Michigan State opening it up here in the 3rd quarter.
This is going to fire you up here midway through the 3rd quarter. Not only the pickup, but watch Connor Moore right here. Okay, as the play unfolds, he recognizes, I might be 3 yards downfield. No, back up. You do not want a flag. That leads to a touchdown. So much goes into the game, almost a spike.
Dante Moore leads the 4th-ranked Ducks into a rivalry showdown next Saturday with Oregon State. It's at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Take a look at the AP poll top 10 and some of the opponents. Ohio State yet to play today. You see they're 1, Penn State's 2, Oregon's at 4, and Illinois is at number 9, the highest September ranking since 1964 when Dick Butkus was a senior at Illinois.
They get through this one later on tonight. That matchup is set in Bloomington.
Flash Wilson's going to bring this out, trying to make a play for Youngstown State. Gets out to the 20, and let's go down to Rhett.
Aiden Childs' progression obviously has been something to watch here from year 1 to year 2. And one of the biggest things that I know the coaching staff were telling us that they were really looking for was that pocket presence. You alluded to it in the first half, Yogi. It's if number 1 isn't there, and there are things happening around his legs in terms of pressure, can he make subtle movement in the pocket to get to number 2 and then to number 3? Kind of felt like that's what we saw right there on that touchdown throw to Basunas. And a big part of that development for Childs has been the addition of quarterbacks coach John Boyer, Yogi, who everybody's kind of credited with Aiden's progress.
Yeah, they knew each other his freshman year at Oregon State. Wasn't here last year, came this year. And in the advent of college football and staffs growing, getting to get John Boyer here has been really huge for everyone. Nice pitch and catch there, Rhett. But I think talking to Brian Lindgren earlier today on the field, he was even saying, having somebody dedicated to Aiden when he comes off the field has been a huge upgrade. Now, oftentimes these quarterbacks, they come off, and if you've had a challenging drive, you can put your head in your hands. You could be hearing from a different coach or a teammate, and that is none of that. They have a process. He comes to the sideline immediately to John Boyer, then immediately to the phones to talk to Brian Lindgren, and I think that's allowing us as fans and viewers to see the consistency grow for Aiden Childs.
Second and short. And Gilbert is going to make it third down and short.
And immediately, Yogi, as a way to describe the rekindling of their relationship here in East Lansing, Aiden was telling us yesterday that minute one from when Coach Boyer got onto campus, they had a meeting. So he knew exactly what priority number one was.
Yeah, you nailed that. I think the quote was from Coach Boyer, I can't wait to build with you, and Aiden saying, let's get to work. And they have done just that on the third and short here for the Spartan defense.
One for their last 5 is Youngstown State on third down. Tomczak in motion. Brungard throws, and there is Bray, the tight end. And he's got a big gainer out across midfield and a first down for Youngstown State.
You know, there's a nice crossing pattern here for Youngstown State and Bray. He's had a heck of a game. We'll see him come from the top of the screen. A little delay on the block. Nice job setting it up from Brungar. But you know, talking coordinators in this game, you got to talk about offensive coordinator Mike Yursich. Right?
Yeah.
What a journey, what a path for him. Got another shot down the seam.
And it's out of the backfield. Gilbert keeps his feet and gets down inside the 10.
Mike Yursich, just to give you the quick bio, is a little up-tempo here at Oklahoma State, young coordinator, Texas young coordinator, Penn State coordinator, and he was out. Didn't know what he was going to do. He said coaching is a calling, and he said he needed Youngstown State almost more than Youngstown State needed him.
Exactly right, Yogi. And actually, I was at Indiana playing for Coach Jerry DiNardo, our pal here on BTN, when Mike Yursich was a GA. He said he loved, Coach DiNardo told me today, loved having Mike as a GA, but also said that Mike didn't want to go coach Power 5 football. So DiNardo called him when he was at Oklahoma State, said, what gives? Well, looks like he's circled back to his foundations here now at Youngstown State.
Yeah, he's been creative everywhere he has been. In fact, when he talked to Doug Phillips, the head coach, Doug was like, hey, you sure you don't want a bigger job? To your point, Red? He goes, no, I want to come on and I want to do it here. And he's finding ways to get guys open, whether it's shifts, motion. Nice job again with Jaden Gilbert, an explosive play down the seam. And this is where Boston College has struggled, whether it's in the red zone or in the field through 2.5 games, is the middle of the field.
Last week it was an issue against BC for this Michigan State defense, trying to hold the line here. Brungard waiting, and gets pulled down by Alex Van Sumeren.
That's a nice job from Van Sumeren. Remember, we talked about this in the first half, Guy. When the ball is on the hash, it's on the right hash now if you're Youngstown State on offense. Michigan State wants to force the offense, and Bo Brungard to the sideline, to the short side of the field. Expect to see some pressure from the right side of the defense of Michigan State.
That's Anelu Lafa-LA, who's going to be coming off the edge on that side, Yogi, who they call a blowtorch or the Tasmanian devil, because he's always moving around out there as their best pass rusher.
Wearing number 11 on the edge at the top of the screen. Lined up across from the right tackle. On third down and goal. And movement. And that's going to go against Youngstown State.
Sometimes you're trying to get in the perfect play.
False start. Offense, number 78. 5-yard penalty, third down.
Des Lee, the left tackle, just the third penalty for Youngstown State today.
You know, we haven't seen any. They've had this like kind of funky diamond formation in the backfield. You see it now to the bottom of the screen with 3 wide receivers in a bunch. They've done it out of the backfield. Here on a third down, you're going to see a bunch of twists and eventually a corner route that Brungard's going to try to throw here in the red zone.
Brungard was looking that way. Now he's flushed. And he's going to make this fourth down and goal down around the 3-yard line for Youngstown State.
Yeah, they try to run a corner all the way across the field. Nice job pressuring from Thompson. And the athleticism of Brungard just shows up. And of course, they're going to go for it on fourth. What feels like they need it to get back in this game.
Jaden Gilbert, the back. Brungard's been held in check on the ground so far today. All he wants right now is 3 more, though, yards. Fourth down and goal.
God, this place is alive.
Loudest it's ever been down here on the field.
Play clock low. Brungard looking, throws, caught, touchdown Youngstown State. R.K. Dandridge, the first of his career, and the Penguins got a heartbeat.
Michigan State, I think, was expecting QB run. Isaiah Moa is going to spy Brungard right over the center, which means he's not in the mix of the defense. He's not dropping to a zone, and that's exactly what Youngstown State did with R.K. Dandridge. They found the zone. You'll see kind of right over the ball there, spying right there, right in the middle, number 8. Nice job from Bo Brungard just recognizing that.
Mustavka with the point after. Get that big iron Y on the front of their shirts, and they're not going away.
Well, how about the route? Goes wide, sits, perfect location. We got a banger.
Bo Brungard, the quarterback on the right of your screen, and R.K. Dandridge, the transfer from Temple, on the left, connecting for the first time in Dandridge's time at Youngstown State. Touchdown. It was a 4th down conversion.
Well, remember what Brungard told us earlier in the week. His entire offseason was all about situational football. Well, that's another 4th down he converts, this time for a touchdown. You understand what they're going to play. I mean, to be an elite quarterback guy, you've got to understand what defenses are playing by situation. Red zone, tight red zone, 4th down.
Sean McCray will take the touchback. So at the 25-yard line come the Spartans offense. And let's take a look at the drive summary brought to you by American Family Insurance. Here in the second half, after that 3-and-out to start, a couple of good sequences for the Spartan offense. Of course, the 4-second drive was set up by an 83-yard punt return.
Yeah, they've been, other than that first drive, really efficient. To me, the thing that has been a relative surprise, they haven't been efficient running the football throughout this ballgame. Only 65 rushing yards, and Aiden Childs has 23 of them. So you want to see, and in this outside zone scheme, guy, you want to keep running, and then hopefully the defense overruns one. But I'll tell you what, John Hainline's group, the DC at Youngstown State, has done a nice job.
Play action, and that is batted away and intercepted. Cameron Cunningham snagged it for the pick, and what a huge turn of events. The first interception for Aiden Childs this year.
Intercepted by the defense. First down, Youngstown State.
And going back to last year, that ends a streak of 176 throws without an interception.
Yeah, this is deep play action. He's about to take a rip, just feeling confident against man-to-man coverage. The ball is tipped by Marshall, picked up by his teammate. Oh, nice job there on that pick. Wow.
That is quick reaction
from
Cameron Cunningham. And that's how the streak ends, in a big drive to try and suffocate out the hope for Youngstown State. Well, hope is back. 1:10 remaining here, third quarter. Brungard trying to get to the edge, swallowed up by Jalen Thompson.
Jalen Thompson's been impressive today. He's done a nice job on the edges. And again, for these two defensive ends, they've got a rush end, they got a traditional end, meaning their rush edge player, they'll rotate 4 to 5 players there, just trying to have fresh legs. And that is coming from the wide side of the field. So you're seeing a variety of different players in that spot. And the point is, try to force this QB to the boundary. As you see the stats there, and the facts are on his first pick since November 2nd of last year.
John Boyer, the quarterback's coach there, with Childs on the bench, going through things as Youngstown State tries to capitalize after the 5-yard loss. Play clock is at 2. Brungard, does he see it? Just got it off. Dancing and gets it out of bounds. Brett?
Yogi was mentioning the rush ends and how they like to play 3-4 different guys out there. Isaac Smith was in part of that pressure on the last one. He and Cam Williams, defensive line coach and rush ends coach Chad Will, told me they they're like the sledgehammers, you know, if you've got a tool belt. And then David Santiago, number 41, he's the multi-tool, but Rafael, he's that blowtorch that gets the pass rush going, like right here on a 3rd down.
Big opportunity, yeah. 3rd and 15 after the interception.
Yeah, and there's Lafayette at the bottom of the screen. He's going to rush really wide, not allow the quarterback to get outside of him.
Brungard gets through the hole, gets stopped up for a short gain. Nikai Martinez hasn't played a ton today, Yogi, back from injury for the first time this year, but a huge stop to end this 3rd quarter. 4th and 12 coming up for Youngstown State. After the interception, the Michigan State defense stands strong. Well, Doug Phillips and his young men from Youngstown made the 4-hour drive, came to play. Michigan State with 1 quarter left to try and get the dub. Mike Yursich, the offensive coordinator for Youngstown State, going through the iPad as the kicking team comes out to start this 4th quarter. After the interception from the Youngstown State defense, took over in good position. Michigan State able to force the field goal attempt here from Andrew Lastavka of 37 yards. And that kick is no good. It was tough to tell at that angle. That was a long kick over the right upright, and it says it's over the upright. It makes it very difficult to see, not reviewable. Take another look here, Yogi.
It's got the inside, the extended upright, and that is hard to see. The officials are right underneath both uprights, so they're looking straight up.
And you understand why it's not reviewable, because it's just so hard to. The only great angle at any kick is from right underneath it. And as Yogi said, it's got to be inside the inside of the upright, as opposed to the NFL where it has to be inside the outside of the upright. And Michigan State's defense is able to hold Youngstown State to no points after the interception, and to the ground go the Spartans with Makai Frazier. Let's look back at the pick from the last possession.
Yeah, they're going to run a little play action. The fullback's eventually going to find his way to the flat. I don't fault Aiden Childs for trying to make this throw to Evan Boyd. He's trying to rip it right here in the middle of the field, but his fullback's wide open to the flat. Like, there's a world where you see defender flash in front of you. We've seen guys standing there like Aiden Childs and make that throw. Also, a pump, avoid, check it down. This drive here, this quarter, he's going to have to avoid any type of self-inflicted negative, with the score being 31-17.
Design run behind Elijah Tautoliver, makes another man miss, and gets out to the 40-yard line. Good run from Aiden Childs.
Yeah, isn't he sneaky elusive? He really is. Little block on the edge. Nice job from the backs, the tight ends. Nice work right there from Tautoliver. And then high and tight, and the ball in the outside arm. Nice job having a little bit of a weapon with that right arm, the stiff arm. And saw it last week against BC guy. Saw it there. The elusive element of Aiden Child. I don't think you could mimic that unless you play it.
15-yard run is the longest of the day for Michigan State. Tullis, big hole, and he's out to the logo and near a 1st down. Just shy, it'll be 2nd and inches.
That's a nice job from Brian Lindgren. The variance in the run game, right? Outside stretch zone, we talked about that all game. How about inside, little zone read action, a double team, nice work working backside on the interior offensive line, and also the tackle, Stanton Ramil.
Remember, this is a Michigan State team without the star receiver, Nick Marsh, in the 2nd half, after he was a one-man 1st down machine in the 1st half. 2nd down and short. Back to Tullis, and Tullis, the first man to hit him was his own, and he gets a 1st down, pick up a 6. That 1st half with Nick Marsh, it was like basketball. Just give it to him on the wing and let him go isolation. And so when he went out injured, they really lost a major part of the offense.
Yeah, he's so electric. And I think you also saw from Youngstown State is to not play as much off coverage. I mean, there's a reason to be threatened by the deep shot and the speed and the ability of Nick Marsh. But I'll tell you what, Amari Kelly, this has been a growth game for him as well. Right? You mentioned the two times he put the ball on the ground a week ago. He's been the guy
Frazier gets ridden down by Karsten Marshall. Loss of, actually no gain, maybe a yard backwards.
Officials timeout for a player injury.
And it is the lead back for Michigan State, Frazier.
Timeout in the field.
And we'll step aside. 12:08 to go here in the fourth quarter. Michigan State trying to stay in control. This is just a moment ago. Mekhi Frazier being helped off the field. You can see him not putting any weight on that left leg. You take a look at the play, and his left leg just gets bent underneath him. Stayed down the field for most of that break and just walked off. So after the stoppage, it's 2nd down and 11. Aiden Childs feeling his way for a yard, maybe 2, and it's 3rd down.
Hopefully he is all right. I'll tell you what, though, this running back room is more than all right because their running back coach, Keith Bonifa, his story is incredible. He was a probation officer intern out of college. Then he goes to Laney College and learns from John Beam. If you've watched the documentary Last Chance U, the last year they did it, it was on Coach Beam at what he did in the Northern California area. Chris Peterson has been an influence. June Jones, as we play for it, Hawaii has been an influence. He's made sure this group has come together in a bunch of ways. Let's see how they respond.
3rd down and 9. Tautalliver with a huge block and clears the path for Aiden Childs, who goes way up top and comes down inside the red zone. And then he gives the Jordan shrug. 24 yards.
Well, it starts with the block right in the middle of the screen. You'll see Tautalliver, the lead blocker, number 4. He goes low, and then Childs tries to go high, and at 6'3", not a ton of air, but he is not trying to slide. And then a little bit of that homage to the Jazz from back in the day. What is it? Was it 97 guy?
Well, you know, there was a Jordan and Magic, actually, as it turned out, had a great all-star game back and forth when Jordan hit several threes. Here's Childs rolling out. His brother's a great basketball player. Aiden checks it down to Jack Velling, and he gets swallowed up. Aiden was telling us, you know, his younger brother plays at Long Beach Jordan High School in Southern California. His brother Aaron is. Aiden kind of shook his head. He's like, yeah. He's 6'6". Like, lucky him. And he's not here on this trip, even though a lot of Aiden's family is, because Aaron's got some basketball to play. And it was fun talking to him about the mentality, right? That is a fearless young man wearing number 2 in his junior season for Michigan State.
Yeah, you ain't lying, man. And I'll tell you where he's really grown is he can understand the why. Understand the why of the defense, why they played that front, why they dropped. And he can come back to the sideline and say it. You see him now talking to the sideline saying, I don't know if they can hear you. I don't know if you can hear the headset communication. Nope. Michigan State's going to call a timeout. But he is just, it's been leaps and bounds from where he was as a first-year player last year and now here with his full command of what he likes, what he doesn't like, what he sees, what he doesn't see. The growth just continues. Aiden Childs is there in the red zone. Aiden Childs has done it in a variety of ways. Previous snap out this play action. 1, 2, now check it down to Velling. Work the pocket, climb the pocket, trust the pocket. Touchdown to Michael Masunas, getting the tight ends involved. Then he said, I'm just going to follow my lead blocker, this this transfer back in Tautalliver, and then climb the ladder a little bit. A little homage to Magic and MJ, and here we go.
And now it's 2nd down. After the timeout, they couldn't get the play in on the previous. That's why they called it. Here's Amari Cooper with the catch. Amari Cooper had a big punt return earlier today that set up a touchdown. He's had a good game.
I think it's important to highlight, you know.
Kelly, excuse me, I'm saying Cooper, Kelly.
I think it's important to just mention Jonathan Smith and over 60 new players a year ago, over 40 this year, but it's been the same system. So it's allowed this team to find comfort, to find growth, just to know the personality of the coaches, for the vets to bring guys along. And they bring in a bunch of new players in the skill position. You see Evan Boyd. He's one of those transfers from Central Michigan lined up at the top of the screen.
As Kelly goes in motion. Childs taking his time, looking. Oh, he gets Kelly open, and he can't bring it in. Those two, they had their eyes locked, and Kelly went to space, and they just couldn't connect.
Oh, it was a really cool route by Kelly. Just a little sit route in the end zone. He's kind of open all day. Then he sees Childs scrambling. He decides to run that scramble there, which is to turn and run towards the pylon. I don't think Aiden Childs sets his feet. You'll see number 1 to the top of the screen. Kelly, a little whip route. Outside then in. He's open. Childs looking for the window. It's off platform. He's got the ability to make that. Doesn't set his feet. And that's a rare miss from QB1, Aiden Childs.
Martin Connington, 1 for 1 today from 24 yards, and that is good from 27. Good drive for Michigan State. We're back in 30. Well, still to come later today, Kirk Ferentz a chance at history. And how cool is this? Looking for his 206th win as a Big Ten coach. Taking on UMass, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. Here on the Big Ten Network. Of course, you know, history in a similar way, a little bit different. Tom Izzo this year passed Bobby Knight for the most conference wins for a Big Ten coach. He passed Bobby Knight a couple of years ago for overall wins by a Big Ten coach. It was earlier this past basketball season. Now Kirk Ferentz with a chance to make history. History that started back on September 18th, 1999. And I'm not sure he's aged. All right, let's get an update on Penn State with Dave Revson in Chicago. Dave?
Oh, Guy, the Nittany Lions running away with it against Villanova. Nick Singleton, his second touchdown of the day. The D has held Nova under 100 total yards. It's 31-0.
All right, and so now, Yogi, it's safe to start thinking about Penn State's bye and the game they have after the bye, which is
heard a little bit about that one, right? The whiteout. We were in Happy Valley a week ago. It'll be electric. A ton is on the line in that Saturday. But I think that's the beauty of the expanded playoff, is that the loser of that game by no means is out of the conversation. I don't think whoever loses will be dropping out of the top 5.
Brungard, quick little pass inside, a push pass to Alex McDonald, and he's able to get 7-8 yards out of it.
And just to follow up on Coach Ferentz, and we've been around him now for a little while, the regard that the coaching community has for him is as high as I've ever seen in college football. And it's not just for him winning. It's who he is, how humble he is. He told us over the summer, he said it immediately, he said it many times, said it this week, he doesn't want it to be about him. But tonight, Coach, it potentially will be all about you, and looking forward to that game and potential celebration of a really powerful record.
Brungard, pressure, steps away, points, and will pick up a first down. What a great list. You know, the history is just so rich in this league. Bo Schembechler, 194 wins. Amos Alonzo Stagg, 199. And Woody Hayes at 205.
Yeah, that's pretty special company. Growing up in Pittsburgh, I don't know if Coach Ferentz thought that would ever happen. Speaking of Pittsburgh, it's exactly where Joe Rossi is from as well, defensive coordinator for Michigan State. See if they can get a stop here. You know, this has been a critical game, I think, when you look at a running quarterback. You don't see it all the time in the Big Ten, but it'll flash at times for Michigan State down the stretch here and as they get into conference play. And overall, you didn't see Michigan State today play a lot of single high defense, just meaning one single safety. It's been 2 safeties for the most part, so they can fit the runs and have more eyes on the quarterback in the QB run game.
Brungard with a defender in his face, able to get it out to Tomczak, and he picks up another first down.
I think right now for Youngstown State and offensive coordinator Mike Yursich, you've got to go tempo here. You know, they're a huddle outfit, but you're trying to get moving, seeing where the score is, find some efficiency. And I just keep trying to find Max Tomczak, and he's found these little holes. He's got this ability to find zones against this Michigan State defense.
Brungard cannot connect with Tomczak. He was looking for him. And let's go down to red.
Felt like it was pretty high praise when we asked Bo Brungard about Max Tomczak. Said first things out of his mouth was hardest worker on the team. Obviously came here as came to Youngstown as an unheralded player, and then worked his way into what he's become as a preseason All-American there on the FCS level.
And there's his uncle Mike. We had a chance to visit with him in pregame. I remember from back in the year 2000 when he was with the Steelers. I was a freshman. We'd be working out in the facility. His intentionality around the craft is amazing.
Wait a second, you were at Pitt and you were working out.
We shared a facility. They still do in Pittsburgh, so you get to see Steelers all the time. Got to catch up with him back in the day. Another trick play.
This one gets flipped around to Jaden Gilbert, who's had a couple of huge gainers today.
But what's great about Coach Tomczak is that he's always loved coaching. Of course, he's loved the game. He did TV after he was done playing, but just wanted to give back. He's been extremely tight with Jim Tressel. And he brings expertise that is just so unique. He said he was just at his 40th anniversary of the Bears in 1985. Got to be around all the fellas in Chicago. Just perspective in the building. And he's the one that nudged the staff. Hey, take a look at my nephew.
Yeah, that's right. He had no offers, Max, coming out of high school. Brungard gets it out quickly to Mills, but he is cut down by Aiden West.
The best defenses, and this is part of the Joe Rossi scheme, they try to funnel the quarterback and tell him where to throw the ball. So you see the rush, a little pressure, and then the tackle. He's saying, hey, we'll let you throw it to the flats, no problem. And there's the freshman, Aiden West, coming up, making a big tackle.
Now it's 4th down.
Again, I'm finding a way to get Max Tomczak the rock. And for Michigan State, they don't bring a lot of pressure. I would bring some here.
Youngstown State 2 for 2 on 4th down today. Tomczak, the middle receiver at the top, tight end at the bottom. Spread it out. Tomczak's got it, first down. Tomczak down to the 30 and gets crunched just shy of the 20. And Youngstown State is 3 for 3 on 4th downs. That's a pickup of 26 yards.
Yeah, that's a really nice route. 1, 2, 3, get on the toes of the DB, flatten it off. Really nice work. And here comes some tempo.
And Youngstown State's going to take a timeout. You can see Brungard trying to get things aligned there, and so they're going to make sure they get things in order before this 1st and 10. Well, it's been a fun day here at East Lansing. Of course, last week was the dramatic 2 overtime win over Boston College. You wonder how would Michigan State respond to that high. They've gotten a test from Youngstown State today. Lead 34-17. The Penguins with the ball, 1st and 10 after they took a timeout. Michigan State's going to play 3 of its next 4 games on the road, including off to LA to play USC next.
Here comes a late blitz, I think, from Michigan. Oh, here's an audible. Michigan State, do they change coverage?
Brady Pretzloff creeping up near the line of scrimmage. And here he comes up the middle, and that gets out quickly. Brungard is able to find Fresh Walters. And he gets smacked down. Anthony Pinnis.
Guy, this is graduate level from Bo Brungard. This is really impressive. Look to his left the whole time. He sees pressure coming. So what does he do? He throws away from that pressure. No problem, not going to mess with all this. That's big time recognition. These two teams are leaving it on the grass, man.
2nd down and 5. And now they look to the sideline. The coach-to-player communication is cut off. The signals come.
And finding Tomczak again.
Wilson in motion. Brungard trying to keep it, and that is stuffed. And Pretzloff is slow to rise.
He's a player. I mean, does he not show up or what when you watch him on tape and hope he is all right? He's got a chance to be the next real special one around here.
Just a freshman.
Game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 3:20, 3:20.
Come out of this game a little beat up. Yogi, you can see the shoulder brace there on the left arm of Pretzloff taking a look here at 45 coming up to make the hit.
There he is. You'll see as the play develops, he's all over the quarterback. They're not going to allow the quarterback to win in the run game. He's watching the whole time. And it just looks like that left shoulder. You're right. He just grabs it.
He gets a hand as he walks off. Remember, Bo Brungard has run for more yards coming into this weekend of college football than any player in college football. He'd run for 409 yards in 2 games. And in a stat you never use in football, averaged 18 points per game through the first 2. But today they've held him to under 2 yards a carry.
Yeah, they did a nice job. He averaged over 200 yards on the ground per game. Outside of that first drive of the ball game, hasn't been a lot on the ground. They're not going to allow him to beat him. They're not going to allow quarterback draw here. They'll spy him the whole time.
Gets it out quick again. This is to Flash Wilson, and Wilson races into the end zone. The Penguins will not go away. Touchdown, Youngstown State.
How about the play call? Are you kidding me? Mike Yurcich in his bag right now. Getting the ball out quick. He's trying to do it the whole time. Watch the offensive line on the right side. They are sprinting. They've got 4 bodies for only 3 for Michigan State. And Flash Wilson does the rest. You're right. Youngstown State, they are not going away. They're not trying to get on that bus for that 4-hour drive. They're trying to celebrate on this field.
11-play drive that covered 75 yards. And it's a 10-point game. 3:05 to go.
Can't help but think about that field goal. Inside the inside. 10-point game.
A 10-point game after the Flash Wilson touchdown for Youngstown State. And you think back to how critical that missed field goal for Youngstown State was earlier in this half after they'd intercepted Aiden Childs. And now they're going with an onside kick. And Michigan State is able to recover it. Wayne Matthews with a clutch play. Whoa.
I get it, but it didn't feel like it was much of a surprise onside. That was a true onside kick. Sometimes when you go surprise, you're trying to just drill it right at somebody in that front line. Michigan feel like it was much of a surprise onside. That was a true onside kick. Sometimes when you go surprise, you're trying to just drill it right at somebody in that front line. Michigan State's all over that. You got to give them credit. Keith Bonifa, the special teams coordinator, he and Chad Wiltz. Joe Begnell did a nice job there, making sure the hand team was very aware. You see that late shift. That's a nice job of being on the situations.
And so now Michigan State takes over in a 2-score game at the 45-yard line of Youngstown State. And Elijah Tolliver picks up 3.
Okay, now let's talk through this schematics here, right? It's a 2-possession game. When is Youngstown State going to use their timeouts? They only have 2 remaining. And then the theory, if they do get a stop and get the ball, see another player down for Michigan State. Gee, this team has been banged up in this game, guys.
That's Connor Moore, the starting right tackle today.
Game operator, please reset the game clock to 2:58. 2:58.
We did see Michigan State banged up a little bit last week. Now Malik Spencer, was banged up last week, was able to return. They got Nikai Martinez back from injury this week, but we've had 3 offensive linemen go off with injury, 1 return for Michigan State. We saw the star receiver Nick Marsh go out with injury. The starting running back Makai Frazier's gone out with an injury. Armarion Smith, who had an interception in the secondary, had ice on his shoulder.
Ashton Lepo didn't go.
That's right.
He's played a bunch the first 2 weeks of the season. Their competitive depth eventually becomes the story in the Big Ten. I mean, there's just so many teams with so much depth that for a few of them, Michigan State, we hope they come out of this thing okay, but they got to go win this ball game. And back to the scenarios, this is what's happening on the headset now for Doug Phillips and his staff. It's got to be when and how we're going to use our timeouts. And for Michigan State, how are we going to continue to bleed this clock, but also try to end the game knowing the timeouts? Both coaches have this little white book that they're always assessing around these situations.
It's not that little.
You're right on that.
Jake Coyne is in at fullback. Yeah, they'll give it back to Tal Tolliver. And now it's 3rd down and 3. And you mentioned, Yogi, the injury to Ashton Lepo. That means that Rakeem Johnson is getting the opportunity at right tackle now after that Connor Moore injury.
Charge timeout, Youngstown State.
Youngstown State has 1 timeout remaining now. Before this 3rd down play, they use it. This is the upcoming schedule. 3 of the next 4 on the road at USC. Then a bye before they go to Nebraska.
I'll tell you what, when you're banged up a little bit, you want all the time you can get. So I know it's a late start, but like you almost get another half a day because it's an 8 p.m. Pacific kickoff against USC, and they head out to LA next week. So they're going to need all the time to get right and to the point of that schedule. It fits well after that game to get a little bit of breather. And then it's just on. And God, that's just the reality of the Big Ten. I mean, very few teams luck out with just the luck of the draw on the schedule. Every one of these weeks feels like heavyweight football, which is so fun to watch these quarterbacks play and have to make these discerning decisions.
Aiden Childs is going to take this and convert and stay in bounds. Great play by Aiden Childs there to keep the clock running.
So you don't want to use your timeout here if you're Youngstown State. Let it go to the 2-minute timeout. Aiden Childs, again, I go back to that Friday meeting that Jonathan Smith has with the quarterbacks, and it's all situational football. It's all lessons learned. It's his opportunity to get in front of the room that he's most comfortable in. Remember, he was a big-time quarterback back in the day at Oregon State.
2-minute timeout.
He's coached a bunch of big-time quarterbacks. Clearly was an impressive play caller. Now he's teaching the situations, and that's what this game is going to come down to here with 2 minutes to go.
Dave Revson in our Chicago studios get you out for the conclusion of your game in just a moment. Want to remind you the final game of our triple header is coming up next, and it is a potentially historic one. Kirk Ferentz looking to pass Woody Hayes, move into first place all time on the career wins list in the Big Ten. Iowa will host UMass, kicking off at 7:30 Eastern time here on the Big Ten Network. Get you back out to the stadium now. Enjoy the rest of the game.
Two minutes remaining here in regulation. Michigan State with a 10-point lead over Youngstown State. Every time Michigan State would try and pull away today, they could create a little separation, but Youngstown State would answer. Now 1st down and 10 for Aiden Childs. Elijah Tal Tolliver remains in the game in the backfield. And he weaving his way. A nice run on 1st down. And at 1:54, Youngstown State will use its final timeout.
3rd and final team timeout. Youngstown State. 30-second timeout.
See Wells going off.
So now 1st down.
Staying in.
1st down will do it here for Michigan State. But I'll tell you what, let's just love on Youngstown State. You see Mike Wells coming off. He's had a valiant game. Doug Phillips has this team. They had this team ready to roll. John Hainline, the defensive coordinator, he had this defense believing. So much so, in our call this week, we noticed he had the Ted Lasso believe on his water cup as we were talking. Just kind of threw it out there, seeing what he might say. He said, I love the show. There he is with the big Y, the Youngstown on his hat there. He said, I love the show so much. It impacted me as a coach so much that he even went to Richmond this summer. He said Ted Lasso on that show helped him grow as a coach. He and his wife Heather ended up going to the pub that's so famous outside of London. Took the train 15 minutes. It's affected so many people. He said it really impacted me as a coach. He even showed some clips from that incredible award-winning series to his team earlier today. It's been really fun getting to know him. He's going to be a riser in the coaching profession. He had this defense ready to play today.
Aiden Childs working the opportunity for Michigan State to give it to Tal Tolliver again. No timeouts left for Youngstown State, and Tal Tolliver's going to race in and put it away. His first Michigan State touchdown, the 5th-year transfer who arrived from Sacramento State in January. getting some carries down the stretch here after the injury to Mekhi Frazier and making the most of it.
Yeah, he's an all-big Sky back a year ago, and this running back room has elevated. He had a key block on an Aiden Childs run, and to your point, he finds the end zone, and his running back coach, Keith Bonifa, has got to be happy with how his group and his room have risen up since the injury to Mekhi Frazier.
The final score may not tell the whole story today.
Yeah. This is a fun game. Back and forth, back and forth. Michigan State seemed always in control of this game.
Yep.
There was some self-inflicted negatives that they have had. And there you go. What they've done after half is a different team than year one under John Smith. That's the bottom line. And Jonathan Smith, at least to us, we've been around for a long time. He's a heck of a coach. He's a culture builder. They have their way. They have a staff that is so connected. I think they're just going to continue to evolve and grow. 61 new players year one. Aiden Childs, one of them. You watched flashes of him last year. You've seen such growth from him this year. One real poor decision, I think, from him on a 4th down in this game. Other than that, really impressive game. And I think that's good when you come out on top as Michigan State will. You got areas where you can teach. There'll be lessons learned for this team. And I feel like they'll clean them up. The question will be, and I'm sure he'll get asked right after the game, the health of his roster, especially the key players up front, linebacker, wide receiver, running back. They got to be healthy. And if they are, I think they're going to be a threat every Saturday this season.
Blake Sislow, you saw him. He kicked 3 extra points last week, and he's going to pop this up in the air. A fair catch taken from Youngstown State with 1:48 remaining. Of course, the final drive recaps the entire day around the conference tonight at 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. And Yogi, I guess one of the questions will be, has USC started to play by then? They have. USC has started to play, so that's big news. They're at Purdue. We mentioned them in particular because that's Michigan State's next opponent. Big opportunity for Purdue today to make a statement.
And how about that storyline? And they've been all over it in the studio. But Barry Odom against the quarterback he recruited to UNLV, who was the Mountain West Freshman of the Year, Jaden Mayava, who has looked as good as any quarterback through 2 weeks in this league. So what does he do against a defensive-minded head coach who knows him inside and out? Cannot wait to lock into that one.
Barry Odom trying to become the first Purdue coach to win his first 3 games since 1905. And it would be a massive statement because of how well USC has looked so far this year. So glad that game was delayed by weather has gotten underway. This is Jaden Gilbert. Jaden Gilbert has had a heck of a day today. Remember, Youngstown State entering as a 25th ranked FCS team in the country. Very good program historically, and they've got a good roster this year. They showed quite a bit of fight today. Meanwhile, we mentioned 3 of the next 4 for Michigan State are on the road, including that game at SC next week. Another quick throw to Gilbert, and he is brought down. And no timeouts to stop it. Youngstown State is just in hurry-up mode here. But we talked about it from the start of this game, right? Brett Lewis interviewed Jonathan Smith before the kick. He talked about last week being a growth game, this being a growth week. So many questions, Yogi, as you said, about injury, but coming off of that high, we wondered, would there be a letdown today? And Michigan State going to end up scoring over 40 points and find a way to get it done. And by the way, 346 yards of total offense for Aiden Childs. I don't know what grade he's going to give himself, considering he gave himself a C+ last week.
Yeah, hopefully a little higher. His first game as a 20-year-old. Said he doesn't celebrate birthdays that often. Hopefully he celebrates a little tonight. Who knows, maybe post-game he'll give Red a hug like he did last week after the game, after this performance. But I think overall, look, college football, as so many things have changed, one constant is every week, it is hard to be steady. You come off such a high, to your point. This place was bonkers a week ago, late into the night, and getting back to work, getting back to practice. Jonathan Smith said, look, we had a really good week of practice. I thought they were steady today. It wasn't perfect, but they were steady, and that's what the best teams do. And you look at the final score here, and look, it was a tight game. It was a back-and-forth game, but Michigan State was always in control, at least in my calling it up here, guy.
Michigan State has not started 3-0 in back-to-back seasons since 2006, 2007. That's what they're going to do today. As Youngstown State finds Tomczak again, he gets across midfield. Pick up at 12 yards. There goes, you can see a little bit of glance of the left foot, the boot for Mekhi Frazier, who had to be helped off. Good to see him at least able to walk and put pressure on it as he exits. Run guard throws that out of bounds.
I'll say this for Joe Rossi. It was really fun to watch the defensive coordinator of Michigan State adjust and adapt as the game went on. He came in with one plan, and after the first drive, they had to make a couple adjustments. You saw them spy a little bit more. Some of these overhang players doing a nice job. Isaiah, Moa, and how about this? This is cool. Hey, man, respect. Nice job from Lafayette and Bo Brungard.
And Lafayette is able to break it up and get home. Boy, they love this young man, don't they? Talking to Joe Rossi, he said, "I can't." He never stops. He never stops talking. He never stops flying around, and he plays till zeros hit the board. And there's a hug. And Michigan State gets it done today, 3-0 for the second straight year under Jonathan Smith. The first time that's happened since 2006, 2007.
And it just feels different than it did a year ago, right? It's a grounded confidence with what this program has, what they have at key positions, and just the growth in both systems. And they played well, I thought, in all three phases. Some areas that weren't perfect, but overall, coming off the high against an opponent that was going to leave it all here on the grass. Nice work overall from Jonathan Smith's squad.
Jonathan Smith down on the field with Rhett Lewis. Rhett?
Boy, Coach, there were some swings in this game, some rallies from both teams. What does it tell you about your team and the way they handled the ebbs of this one?
Oh, we expect going back and forth. These are long football games. You know, there's always, you play a game and you want to find a way to win. We got that done. Still plenty, to learn from, clean up, give some credit to Youngstown State. I thought those guys played hard for 60 minutes.
No question. And then, you saw Amari Kelly have a big second half, right, with the punt return and on the offensive side as well. But then we didn't see Nick Marsh, and Mekhi Frazier goes down late. Any concern for those guys' availability moving forward?
Well, always concerned. Those are two good players. I don't think those are long term, but we'll get final info on those guys. I did think Amari's punt return gave us a huge spark, which we needed. The way the second half started, get us scoring first, and so proud of that. But we want to be better at the line of scrimmage, the running game, offensively, defensively, playing the run. So like I said, a lot to learn from and clean up.
3-0 as you go into conference play. What do you feel about this team?
Well, you can't be much better than 3-0. We'll take that. Again, we got to continue to improve, go back to work this week, because this conference, is legit. And so week in and week out, it's going to be a battle, and we got to be ready to go.
Coach, thank you. Congrats.
Thank you.
It was 17-10 when Omar Kelly had that big 83-yard punt return, set up a touchdown, and Michigan State gets the win today.
Yeah, he said it, this conference is legit. He's right, but he's also got a legit QB in Aiden Childs, whose growth is obvious and it's paramount. No matter where they net out health-wise, guy, they got him. I think he'll elevate the group.
Don't forget Iowa's Chasing History coming up at 7:30 Eastern. For all of us here at East Lansing, Glenn Hallis, our producer, Mike Haston, our director, Rhett Lewis, and Yogi Roth, and our entire crew. I'm Guy Haberman saying stay tuned. We'll send it back to our Chicago studios now for a Big Ten Live game break.